Ba Zambia, ba youth, Mwema farmers mwalubuka. Tubukishi miaka loads heading, Iliashili ya buino talifisama. Tulefwa intungulushi shamano. Mundo bile na makebi. Kaya kala kwa limisebo ama bridge, ma school na ma hospitals. Abantu bale mfwa bwinu impia shale sangwa mu matown na mu compound numba shisangwa fye muli bapompwe. Batile bakale tobu yantashi bakawa mya inchalo efyo batile numba abantu bale lila kumitengo shafya kulya imitengo ya fuel. Ifwe tulefwa ya ma solutions tefya kulumbanya fyepa pepa. Mundu bile na makebi ebo tulefwa ya lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikila intungulu shishamano. Abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tatulefwa ya infinity. Tulefwa ya ulubuto mimundu bile fye na makebi mimundu bile fye na makebi. Baletila, rule of law, number, bantu baletina nukulanda. Do you have a lawyer? Selective justice, momenso ya bantu. Ifunde lonse lifwilele abali ya muntu onse. Hapa numba amachito kuingila na mashina. Numba madata base bafwa ya chance no butungulushi bwabwino. Manifesto yabo numba yonse ni pia ngama solution walaide ya likwi. Kanchi ya maansasi ya likwisa. Abantu balefwa ya umutendene nsala ipwe. Ulubuto intungulushi shamano twikatane nga Zambia. Mundu bile na makebi. Mundu bile na makebi ebo tulefwa ya lesa tapela tambika afye na tutambikila intungulushi shamano. Abakwete vision ya chalo baba kalubula bachelo tatulefwa ya infinity. Tulefwa ya ulubuto Zambia yakwe twikatane mundu bile fye na makebi. Bayu mulefwa ya nani? Ba taxi driver, Mwema farmers, bashimaini kukopala uko mulefwa ya banana. Bakasukulu, Mwema zebige mulefwa ya banani. Ulubuto intungulushi shamano twikatane nga Zambia. Mundu bile na makebi. Mundu bile na makebi ebo tulefwa lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikila intungulushi shamano. Abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tatulefwa ya infinity. Tulefwa ya ulubuto Zambia yakwe twikatane mundu bile fye na makebi. Mundu bile na makebi, na makebi.
Errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambulaji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyakulusaga intercity guseruka buyombo woserukira ate basi ya wakujoma ate vimenye nivi batoka kuchoma hivi vimenye nivi ati tundu mwezi singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwa ati tundu mwezi ati mbaba hota maningi kuhotela akaende amuba ome ku intercity sunu yakaba yamwe yakakuba mulaliendela mbomu yanda intercity kunyina umuguma wamuguma ndamwanga banyina bene wabalyawe Zambia So many things. Although we've done, there are many more things to be done. Tujiyagumbere kuberega. Not waktarigo, not waganka kuberego. No. We've just started working now. We've just started. There's a lot more work to be done. Nyambose Ulia, Ujasef, he needs more schools, more classrooms, more desks, more teachers. Work to be done. Munganduria, he needs more bohos in Chama South. Kabusweoyu, he needs more.
Ba Zambia, ba youth, mwema farmers mwalubuka. Tubukishi miaka loads heading, iliashili ya buino talifisama. Tulefwa intungulushi shamano. Mundo bile na makebi.
Mwana mayo, fue na Sakanya, fue na Kasenga, fue na Mwelu, fue na Mpueto, fue na Luapula, bonse, mwapite vemba, mwapita nelamba bonse, mubebe atiawe, ifita tule jifwaya, shikulu, kafike nipo. Gamamo no muntu aisa mibe patio, kinge ba kingelo mkabe buino atio, kabe poko wa wisokulu, na ule kwa inkito shapa inkito yobe, inshita na iringa, inshita ya apuya. Ekyo na miewa pali nomba, tuimanile bonse pamo, ubukano bugufi. Na kinge tuwa kwa tomweso, kinge tuwa wapa bonse pamo, ubuki ushibwakila. Ekyo batemenwe, fiu mafiesu. Na pali ya unkimo kyo batemenwe iyo. Na wale minetela kotu no, nindala masheru, tendala masha muntu, nindala masheru, suwepushie nitanchi, ushewalishwa kuno kupenda, ninshi balepende minue yangu balependenshi ekyo na bilomba lelo webana mayo webena abana ba mayo bonse twali wa tuwine pamo tuileka abantu batuteike mu mfine yo tulefwa tufume muri ukudeta takiringe twasumina kukana mfumie po mwenso pantu ikialo muntanshi tuleya miaka yaona ipwa.
President Hakainde Hichilema received a thunderous welcome from Mazabuka residents during a campaign rally this afternoon. Addressing thousands of supporters, President Hichilema said the government has delivered significant development across the country and pledged to do even more re-elected. He urged Zambians to vote for the ruling United Party for National Development UPND in the upcoming general elections.
From Lusaka through into Kafue, into Mazabuka, from Lusaka into Kafue, Mazabuka, Bonse, Choma, Alomo, Livingstone, up to Kazungula, we are bringing a dual carriage.
Announced plans to upgrade Mazabuka General Hospital into a fully equipped referral facility.
Mazabuka population ya hula, we are upgrading the district hospital to a fully fledged general hospital. Ena magani mabotayo, tuyanda general hospital mu Mazabuka with all the specialist equipment. So that muntu wajiswa mu Mazabuka unina kutola ku Lusaka unina kutola kuli kuhiligwa kugona gono.
Meanwhile, President Hichilema criticized former local government and rural development minister and former Mazabuka Central Member of Parliament Gary Nkombo, saying their differences began a long time ago. He alleged that Mr. Nkombo associated with members of the former Patriotic Front (PF) while still serving in the UPND.
Mala hulumende gakuta gataliga kulabaliga banyina beni. Zambia. Nengo wabereka buti. Ula waberekera buti bena Mazabuka. Ose muntu uligolerwe. Iulule uli Nkombo babereka mundubire. Materera.
the candle sign which I'm using as my symbol. I heard the president say is similar to, so that claim is false. It's baseless to come from a man of his standing. And the rest of the things he said, Helga, I prefer to not to even respond because there was a less of abusiveness. Safe to say that none of the things that he said can stand as a truth. And maybe
the vehicles that they've broken. And then we hear stupid people saying, no, it's a peaceful campaign. Broad daylight, if people can behave in such a manner, look at the damages. These are the vehicles that they've broken. Some of us barely escaped with our lives. And the Electoral Commission of Zambia is very much at peace watching all this nonsense that is being done by the UPND. The UPND are literally attacking each and every opposition. And worse still, President Hakainde Hichilema is not even ashamed of himself. He has not condemned the violence that his cadres are perpetrating all across the country. And then one would call these as free and fair elections. Raisi said you should be ashamed of yourselves. Another one of the vehicles that they've broken here. This is how bad it was. They came with stones and pangas and everything, and some of us barely escaped with our lives. The police were very much at peace, watching, and one would wonder at what...
Hello, Vicky!
Mnaweka weza ngustafia hivi na mwapa muri. Pishi mule picha mule sang picha kopar. Very useless ma polisi. Kia bupuba. So na mwana bato be myotoka makada zi myotoka bato wala moneni myotoka so. This is what is happening in Kitwe right now. See what has happened. This is our car. See what has happened. And YHH is busy claiming to have brought peace. Is this the peace that he's been talking about? If so. Huh? Is this the peace President Hakainde Hichilema brags about? Hii naiona abato. This one. If so, and the police is they are even coming here. Number twalambo kulala na police abeni kanshi. Because they are not helping. Ishoto isa kunkonda. Amone fish tike so. Imyotoka shingi batobele imyotoka ishi. Iyo na batobele yesu motoko ko. Na batoba fe uzama windows. Na batobe. Si. Ati yote walileta mte PC. Senda ku. Boy, mwewa kunya motoka. Batitaka blaza baba security bakulu wewe. Taba kampeni na bena nyingi. Chibele shichi nomba, chibele shichi.
I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem then. I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem then.
Thank you very much for joining us on this day, Friday, the 24th of July 2026, 20 days before Zambia goes to the polls. Today we are reviewing events leading to the presidential, parliamentary, and local government elections that will be held on 13th August, on Thursday, 13th August 2026. It's just 20 days away from elections. The political tensions continue to rise, as you saw in the violence that has been perpetrated both by the police and the UPND. You saw yesterday when Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu and the alliance partners were hosting a rally in Twapia. There was violence perpetrated by the UPND who started stoning where the stage was being set up. Lucky enough, our people refused to leave the stage. And UPND officers are just next to the police station in Twapia. And instead of arresting the people that were stoning the setup of the stage and the people, the police came, led by, Yui Mwala, who's Commissioner of Police in charge of the Copper Belt, came at the stage and directed that the stage be dismantled and the rally be cancelled because the UPND were throwing stones and that it was not safe. Instead of deploying his security to the perpetrators, to arrest the perpetrators, than the peaceful group, he chose to do. I have the video of Yui on stage. Let me check if I have the video of Yui right on stage where he was demanding that the team here is a video. Just check it. I've got two videos. I'll show you another one from another angle where Yui Mwala, who's a police commissioner, who was transferred. We saw the notice from the Inspector General of Police that Yui was among those officers that were transferred. But he seems to be still at station. We don't know if there's been a reprieve or he's waiting to finally go, but he has caused mayhem. Today, he put up a security barrier and prevented the team, Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, to do the rallies that they were scheduled to do in Rona and Mpatamato in Luanshya. But I've since seen later images where the team finally went. I've seen the images in Mpatamato. I don't know if they had addressed the Ron rally. You can comment for me, and for the team that is in Luanshya, you can give me some notes on that. But we saw the police, and kumwe skuluanisha kwa wafio msebo umu ediye town mweba tidiaba mu offense, so they blocked that main road into going into Luanshya, so that Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu should not hold the two rallies that were scheduled to be held in Luanshya. I think they've planned for 3 rallies. One in Mikomfa, the other one in Ron, and the other one in Mpatamato. I saw the Mpatamato rally finally take off very late in the evenings. I think this is just a resilience of our people who have been standing since 10 hours and they refused to vacate, to leave. Just like what saved the day yesterday was nothing but our people in Twapia. They had camped since 10 hours. And when the stage was up and the music began blaring and UPND started throwing stones, the people refused. When the police came to attempt to remove them, the people refused, began to chant, "We want change, we want change." The police have now actively joined with the UPND to attempt to derail the momentum that has since been built by Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu. I think their attempt to frustrate them, their attempts to stop their campaigns, their attempts to demoralize them and their campaigns and their supporters. And Copperbelt and Lusaka are hotbeds for country, and they determine the direction of where the country is. And so far, the boys have been received very warmly. So, you know, we'll be discussing that, and I'll be inviting callers on the issue of the violence that is being perpetrated by both the police and the UPND, as we have witnessed on the Copper Belt. And sadly, the violence that has been perpetrated against the NRPUP candidate of Brian Mundwili and Makebi Zulu from Chawama, you know, in Chipata, we saw in Kaputa, and all these areas, Lusaka, you know, where we even lost some sympathizer, a radio repairer. We have seen 5 deaths so far, and ECZ, Valindui, Valindui. I agree with Brebna Changala, civil society activist, who on KBN TV the other day, with a panel of other eminent personalities, Linda Kasonde and NGO's Beauty Katebe, were on the program. I think they were discussing female candidates and, you know, and female leadership. But the key issue is that ECZ is in no capacity to hold free and fair elections. ECZ, by its composition, by its structure in the board led by Mwangala Zalomes and the young man, Zevianji Sinkala, who's a UPND candidate, a lawyer for President Hakainde Hichilema, was aspiring to be MP in Luansha, was aspiring to be a member of the National Management Committee just last month. Today is sitting as a commissioner at ECZ. McDonald Chipenzi, the details you know. Then there are 2 key officials who run elections, Brown Kasaro and Kachaka. You know, I think the young brother to the famous musicians from the 90s, Victor Kachaka. The young brother is an IT expert. He was at the University of Zambia. The 2 have a terrible record in relation to running elections because they were you know, investigated and arrested for attempting to manipulate results while they were working for ECZ in the 2016 elections. They were trying to tilt the results in favor of President Hakainde Hichilema. Those are the ones now that are in charge of running elections, Brown Kasaro and Dr. Collins Kachaka. And then the 3 suspicious commissioners, Mwangala Zalomes. You know, there's that famous picture of Mwangala Zalomes. She looks better now. That's what jobs do. She's looking good, healthy. She's put on weight and, you know. But there's that earlier picture of an old, frail Kachembele. She says, no, that's not UPND colors, that's BRE. She always protests that you can't judge me by that picture because those were BRE outfits. They were not UPND colors, but you and I know. Nelly Muti herself, they are UPND. We can trace her life from the days of UNIP, our practice in law, you know, the ERTC technical committee. We know what we are talking about when we make the allegations. We don't make the allegations from without. So the composition of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and I was saying I agree with Brebna Changala, is that it's not possible for them to run a free and fair elections. Our elections will not be democratic, will not be credible, will not be transparent. We will not be free and fair. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't turn up to vote. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't protect the vote. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. What you do when the election is threatened, you do like what happened in 1991. Where everyone is on board to ensure that that election is good. And we have one of the most credible electoral process because you count at the polling station. I've monitored other elections in DRC, in Madagascar, in Senegal. You count, you just collect the results, you don't count at polling station, and you know, then you take to the collation center, that's where then the numbers are totaled. In Madagascar, I was surprised that there were no proper ballot papers when I monitored that presidential, parliamentary and local government election in Madagascar. Babula exercise book. Exercise book. Babulia, electoral commission They are called CN, you know, Electoral Commission of, in French, same words, Electoral Commission of Madagascar, CN. So kubule book, you know, an exercise book, elo wa shilamo, then elo wa kupela yaba ballot paper yo ine, you know. I was surprised how advanced our electoral process is. We have proper printed, serialized ballot papers. We have elections, voter registers that are transparent. We have counting that takes place at polling station. So make no doubt, even when I speak very strongly that our country is unlikely going to hold democratic, credible, transparent, free and fair elections, our electoral system itself is solid. Our electoral system is quite modern, transparent, serialized ballot papers and, you know, transparent ballot boxes. But manipulation takes place because candidates do not monitor those elections. They become laissez-faire, and the people that election officers that usually are drawn from Ministry of Education as educationists, teachers and others, and from the OP. And then, you know, the returning officers who are usually council secretaries and town clerks. Ngamwalambwaza, something happens. You don't sleep. That is why you have seen the changes that were occasioned at the Local Government Service Commission, where they've swept all towns and cities and municipal councils across the country. They've put new people. Why do you think they've put new town clerks and council secretaries? Because they are the ones that wear the jacket of returning officers. They run your election. So you saw there's been all these radical changes before we go to elections, where Local Government Service Commission has used the service to cause transfers, change people, put people from one region so that they man the entire 116 districts. You've seen that then there's the post staff, those that help in either counting or help the disabled and the aged or the infirmary, the polling staff, and other than those that conduct the actual elections, other than the returning officer, are also drawn from teachers, and not just any teacher. You saw Liz Evans Hichilema, who's deputy assistant secretary in Muchinga province. He was recruiting, set up even a WhatsApp group where we got messages and directives where they wanted to recruit people that they should confirm with ECZ, those that are aligned, those that are UPND, those that support them as electoral officials. So while our electoral system is credible, while we run serialized ballot papers, while we run transparent ballot boxes, no, you still have to monitor that election. You have to observe it. And for candidates like Munduwile, they have to ensure that they've at least 2 agents in every polling station. They need to mobilize about 30,000 people, since we have about 13,525 polling stations. You need to ensure that you monitor that elections. You need to ensure that you run an effective parallel vote tabulation. So we'll be delving deep into the update of ECZ. We've seen ECZ has announced that the printing of ballot papers in Dubai has come to an end. And today, ECZ officials, together with all the stakeholders that are in Dubai, were flagging off the batches of ballot papers and electoral documents that have been printed in Dubai. And they've announced that there will be 6 flights that have to ship up to 9.1 million ballots that have been printed. Remember, we have about, is it 8.3? Is it 8.3 registered voters, but they've printed about 9.1. They've printed about 9.1. People are calling already. I hope the volume is okay. I hope the picture is okay, because we haven't opened the phone lines. We haven't opened the phone lines yet, but let me just check in the comments in case there's something I need to take note of.
Fue mwana mayo, fue bena Sakanya, fue bena Kasenga, fue bena Mwelu, fue bena Mpueto, fue bena Luapula, bonse, mwapite vemba, mwapita nelamba bonse, mubebe atiawe, titatule jifwaya, shikulu, kafike nipo. Gamamo no muntu aisami be patio, kinge ba kingelo mkabe buino atio, kabe poko ba wisokulu, na ule kwa inkito shapa inkito yobe, inshitana iringa, inshita ya apuya. Ekyo na miewa pali nomba, tuimanile bonse pamo, ugukano bugufi, na kinge tuwa kwa tomweso, kinge tuwa wapa bonse pamo, ugukyushi wakila, ekyo batemenwe, fiuma fiesu, na pali ya unkimo kyo batemenwe yo.
Wanzambia! Mundubile! 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 Chor! Mundubile! Mundubile! So I'm your malushi, Yon Samarabish. 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 Tupele mada Zambia, kumwa umewafundwa. Tupele mada Zambia, kumwa umewafundwa. Muchalo chabulayo, tuleana. Mundubile, twaikala mafara o. Twaikala mafara o. Wajabo seba kata. Aba suminyoko ukwisa mitampya mumamaini fyapwila papene bambe no kulongo kuwelelamo yali amamaini yenu tulemiwezesha.
I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem there.
Family, there's an update on that reporter from ZMBC, Macpherson Mukuka. You remember, he was arrested, he was detained, picked up and detained. Last week he's been in detention for over a week now. The allegation is that there was a WhatsApp group. I remember that meeting, so it was on Microsoft meeting. And that meeting was of civil servants that call themselves presidential campaign committees. The presidential campaign committees, who are civil servants, were plotting and planning how to rig the elections, because they were talking of how to participate in that election. The audio is about 31 minutes. How to, for those that are already chosen by ECZ, that they needed to do the so-called needful, and how to mobilize civil servants just across the country. And, there was that meeting. Now, the audio leaked. For one reason or another, they put it on Macpherson Mukuka, because apparently there's a page called Earth that is associated with him that published that audio. And that's totally unfair, because by the time, if you look at the record, by the time that page was publishing that audio from the Presidential Civil Servants Committee, it had been on pages like mine for 3 days before that page they are alleging that Macpherson Mukuka published. Amnesty International has since called for his immediate release, and other stakeholders have also called for the immediate release of Macpherson Mukuka. And the police have finally charged him with the illicit recording. Mamona ba police basanga kabola ala aleiva. Okay? And the family have beaten the thief, caught the thief and beaten the thief. The police are charging the family for assault, and they have not charged the thief for burglary and theft. It's very, very strange how the police are engaging in this matter. FRA matters. The FRA announced finally, after public pressure and pressure from President Hakainde Hichilema, who just directed that they should announce the floor price. They may not buy now, but that they should announce the floor price. So Suresh Desai, the chairperson of Food Reserve Agency, and his chief executive officer, Chunga, they announced the floor price of maize and soya beans, but they are not buying yet. They also use the opportunity to dismiss allegations that the FRA is bankrupt. We know it is bankrupt. We know the amount it owes banks. We know the amount that it is owed by ZNS and Prison Service, Correction Service, which has Kalonga Milling, and ZNS have Ego Milling, where the scandals have emerged that this was an act of looting and pillaging. And we have, you know, I laugh when these Tabokawan and others say, no, Mwamba is a propagandist, is a liar, is what. Here, the fellow was admitting that he dealt with FRA and ZNS, and he owes them, and he claims it's commercial business.
Did you have any transaction that that led to FRA sending out a demand letter for the amount for a payment that was owed to them?
We've done different transactions with government institutions, including FRA, and there's no crime in it.
There's been reports that have circulated alleging that you failed to pay Milimio obtained from ZNS, that's Zambia National Service, valued at more than 77 million kwacha. My question to you is, what is your response to those allegations? And also, if they are true, have you fully resolved the matter?
Thank you. Yeah, this is something that has been circulating on social media. First of all, before we even get to whether what is circulating is true or not, the question that we need to ask ourselves, which we need to answer, is what is the offense? What is the crime? Assuming that the postings that are circulating are true in a commercial transaction. Assuming they are true, we could also conclude from a legal standpoint there is no commercial transaction, there is no law that positions one owing government as corruption.
Yeah, so Max Muwe owns an enterprise. It's not even a company, a sole proprietor. Colleagues, you've done commerce, you've done basic civics, sole proprietor. So, and it's just an enterprise, it's not even a company where you can say the company is truly separate from the owner. All the liabilities of Wesim Enterprises, which Max Muwe owns, he is directly liable. He is not like a company where the directors may not have any personal liability to the company. Secondly, he's a senior member of the UPND. And for Max Muwe to owe 77.5 million, 77.5 million, which is $4.3 million. You know, when you look at the crisis of retirees at the University of Zambia and Copperbelt University, amounts like this can clear. Our farmers were stranded for days in the rain, in the cold, sleeping on corridors, our corridors, for days on end. That crisis went on for almost 2 months, from January to March, when the last ones were paid. Then you had people like Max Muwe that had 77 million kwacha money for farmers, money that belongs to our people. ZNS has a very big hole, and they haven't paid FRA. They will just get the maize, sell. It's supposed to be a revolving fund. You get the maize from FRA, sell, pay back FRA. Why have you accumulated such a big amount of 35 billion kwacha? Why have you accumulated for Kalonga, prisons? Why have you accumulated 28 billion kwacha? Why are individuals like Nelly Muti and Max Muwe owing so much? In the program here, Max Muwe didn't even deny. He was trying to separate himself, that Wesim is an enterprise and it was running commercial activities, and is a Zambian is entitled to participate in any business. Mwe bantu bakwalesa mwali umfuileko ifo twaishiwe fyati ba FRA ba FRA balapela ba ZNS na ba correction services amataba, then bakalonga na ba ZNS were selling this mealie meal directly to our people. Ushamwali umfuile kwa tukuli advert that people could sell. Did you see any competitive process that allowed ZNS invited ordinary traders to be their link? In fact, in many cases, when there were people that found themselves with that mealie meal from Eagle, they were raided, they were paraded before cameras. I remember cases in Garden, in Tendere, where people were selling the maize, the mealie meal from Eagles. But here now we have learned that actually there was such a secret process where people could secretly get that mealie meal. Or in cases of Nelly Muti that have milling plants, could secretly get the mealie meal and process under Kalonga and under ZNS Eagles, and then sell that maize on behalf of ZNS and Kalonga, or the Kalonga and ZNS would pick those maize milled by private entities like Nelly Muti's milling company, and sell and not pay at all, even when they got that money. So it's not a commercial enterprise. If a secret group associated with power are the ones that have direct access, and members of the public, members of the business community are excluded from the process, that's where the corruption is. That's where the theft is. That's why Max Moe could run an enterprise. Can an enterprise run, an overdraft of 1 billion kwacha? Can an enterprise run a service of 1 million kwacha without paying? Here we see Max Moe's enterprise paying and collecting up to 77 million kwacha. An enterprise so owned. Come on. And he's challenging us like we are children. My dear brother, the podcaster there, should have done a better grilling, because Max Moe was trying to evade his liability by alleging that the commercial business was done by his commercial entity, and the Zambian is entitled to it. But there are key issues: procurement process, public processes. He's a key member of the ruling elite. Was this process subjected to a public process? Our people who run, who are traders, also want a piece of that pie. That's what the country is all about. You have to share equitably. And public institutions like Eagle Milling, if they wish to involve the private sector, are directed by both the Constitution, by our laws, and by regulations that form these entities to engage in a publicly accepted process authorized by the Zambia Public Procurement Authority or agency. So you just can't wake up and give Max Mlemupela Mataba, Mlemupela Ubunga. No, that's highly criminal. Another matter, let's go to Gary Nkombo. I think that the president was totally unfair. But first of all, there have been spats of violence everywhere, not just affecting the NRPUP, but the independents have been casualties as well. There's a case here in Solwezi where independent candidates and their camp were ransacked by the UPND thugs. And when they went to the police, the independent candidate and the supporters were locked up. Just listen to this.
Good morning.
Yeah,
I want to hear more about it on your end. How's the day going?
The day has been stressful. We are trying to release our people who were arrested by the police on Monday after our team was attacked in Kifua Ward, where our councillor Alice Ruas was having a meeting. And the UPND team, which was led by Kapelembe, in numbers attacked the villagers who were having a meeting there, and quite a number of our people were assaulted And in the process of bringing them to the police to get medical reports, our people were detained. So we wish to inform the people that our people have been released, and we wish to urge our colleagues from the UPND that we want to have peaceful campaigns. It is about sharing ideas and the people that they want to work for. It is not a matter of them now trying to intimidate people, beating people. That is uncalled for. We want to have peaceful elections where they go and share their vision and what they are going to do for the people. Yeah. So we are not going to allow this tendency of, attacking innocent citizens, even breaking their properties. What happened actually is unfortunate, and we have
ni ulule urya nkombo baberega mundubire materera baberega mundubire kamtandera gagwegalya agalira mpigalya chintujo omwembo bagapangana materera onomwe omulahumira oti mwebuli mundubire mulahumira mumutobere nkombo ena mulamutobera tubone matanyi banda kutobera nkombo ino banda kukala mu UPND tubone matanyi Zambia sununda bandiga mwaterera te no buli watamwano mutatoberi mwenzu maulya wakala mu parliament 20 years kulumba loti hagainde ndalumba mwana nagamana kuta hotela B7 ndagamwita kunganda mebo ndi muntu olajamba mebo ndatukokalawa wakala witness umwi mwaterera twaga wana utitatime gunope kambo wagabihira nkamo nagamana adoption yainda ndateboga campaign nebo president ndagayimiga abantu bamwi ndagayimiga minister wa education syagalima kuchirundu kujina nagayima awono syagalima ula campaigner ndagayimiga sikumba ngoli nkwalawo ndatisekumba utaimi konjira mu campaign ngoli mwali mu campaign awo ngoli wagali minister of tourism ndagayimiga mulambo haimbe wagali minister of foreign affairs wagali tabo one term ndati mulambo bantu bagulwada mu Lusaka Central utaimi ku campaign awono mwali ula campaign wagali mega nkamu ya UPND ino muntu omwecha tale mega nkamu ya UPND kambo ni ngaya magani olonguni independent tagomu UPND nyamba ule nkombono mwamba ule naboto ena mwandi umira mwamba ule kamuwa nkombo guzanga wataligaga indi ikurwana ndime wataligaga indi ologatuli mu opposition iba PF bandiuma kuseshewe banda kundijaya wali kubweza ntobolo kuti bandijaye ngukaiza Zulu wainda wani manzi bali kugafye balanywa mu kugo bankombo imuntu wali wenda kundijaya inenga muntu waye kuti tenga waye to yulaba ndirwana te na batulwana balusambo do bali kutulwana mu ya PF bamana kutulwana umazo banyali bibugo kantomwe mwamwite mwamubetega ati mundiregerere ba president ndawa mututamwi muzange wakakankaga indi muzanga ulya neboleza wakandipa jamba ija kutonto ya moyo ija kutayoba kampyongo wandyanga watuma tiegasi mangole ya banywalimwi kampyongo nagali minister nenga bacho bapangana ni icho bapangana bayo cho bapangana ni.
The president was clearly very livid. He exhibited, hidden emotions. And it was very shocking. It's very shocking to watch those videos for various reasons. The deep-seated anger the president has harbored against Gary Nkombo demonstrates so in his tone of voice and the details he reveals. First of all, to all of us, we know that Gary Nkombo is one of the pillars in UPND. I think he was beaten more than any person. He was tear-gassed when they were arresting Hichilema. He turned up, he was beaten by the police. The second time when the police turned up, There's even that famous picture of a drunk police officer aiming a gun at him. Is the one you have seen Martha Mushipe, Gary Nkombo at successive elections challenging the Electoral Commission of Zambia for those results that we're not happy with. Gary Nkombo was not named Mazembe for nothing. And in the manner that he was fired, in the manner that is now being disparaged, has raised a lot of concern. First of all, just on the president himself, that the president must forgive. The president must have a heart of a parent. You know, for us, I remember that Gary Nkombo has been a progressive force in our politics. We see him. I used to work across the bank, Zanaco. He was across at SGS, or the company where there is Bata head office. Across Zanaco head office there is that big building. I think they call it Bata House. Gary Nkombo used to be found there. He was one of the senior managers for a company called SGS. SGS was something that was introduced when we opened liberal, trade. So for you to import something, you needed what they call pre-shipment inspection that should be done and so that your money is secured, banks' money is secured, and SGS has offices across the world, whether you are importing machinery or a vehicle or clothes, there'll be someone who's going to inspect, affirm and certify. That's a company that I remember Gary Nkombo was working for. We see him in politics when I think a by-election emerged in Mazabuka and he wanted to stand under MMD. I think 2019, I'll remember the dates. But he enters parliament finally under UPND. He moved from FDD in 2001 when FDD didn't succeed. Like many people, like the man for Mapatizia formula and many that had gone to other parties. When the UPND was formed, it was deemed as a home for them. And Gary Nkombo joined the UPND and in 2006 swept that election. He's been in politics since then, 2006. You see the president is complaining that he's been in parliament for a long time. And he says that's why he asked people like Douglas Yakalima to stand down, Elijah Mchima to stand down. He says they've been in parliament for long. There are other people. I wonder where the standing of the former minister of Home Affairs, Jack Mwimbu, is. Because if they are faces of the UPND the last 25 years, it's people like Gary Nkombo and Jack Mwimbu. Hichilema is a new face, totally new face. He claims that he has history with the UPND, that was a backroom operator, he was financing it. We don't know. He was our chairperson at MISA. MISA used to run some legal trust fund, and he was our chair at MISA. He was low-key. We knew him as a board member, as a businessman. We didn't know him as a politician. We knew who the politicians were, the Sakiwa Scotters, the Bobs Chingas, the Jack Mwimbus and others. We knew who had anchored the UPND. We didn't know President Hakainde Hichilema at all. But he burst into the scene that was a successor to Mazoka when President Mazoka died in 2006. And sadly, that campaign was run on a tribal agenda that only a Southerner could take over the UPND because it was formed as such that there were hidden trustees and hidden members that would not allow any other to lead the UPND. And sadly, something that haunts the president to date, he never condemned the people that, the Ntalas and the Mwanajitis and others that perpetrated that tribal and ethnic campaigns against Sakiwa Scotter, Bobs Chinga and others. And that has stuck with the president from 2006 when he came into politics. But you saw how raw the president was. I remember writing a review in 2006 when he was a presidential candidate, something, like Meet the President. So ZNBC was hosting those programs. So his first public appearance, he came with a load of papers that surrounded him to an interview. And he kept on trying to lift a document. You know how hard it is on a live interview? They're asking you questions. And the answer is on that page. And now you have to look for the page live on TV. It was so clumsy. He truly looked totally unprepared to be president. He didn't know off-cuff answer. He was extremely a boardroom, like he's a manager. That's how he turned out. You can watch his first interview. I think it could have been with Ben Kangwa or another in 2006 when he was now the former presidential candidate. 2008, same, that to the extent that Michael Sata used to call him, under 5 politician or calculator, because he would bring in figures and statistics at a political rally. We want to call it at a political rally. You are discussing with the masses, and in our country, they may not be an educated lot, so you cannot bring statistics, numbers and figures at a political rally. So Mr. Sata used to call him calculator boy or under 5 politicians. But you see, he begins to mature by 2011. He begins to learn other languages. For the first time, he's just not speaking English. He has introduced Nyanja in his narrative, in his discussion, and he's trying to embrace what Mazoka had started, because they had alienated the party. Mazoka had 48 MPs. When Hichilema took over, he had 24 MPs, dropped down from 48 to 24. And Mr. Sata, the PF, overtook him. But even as at 2011, he was extremely raw. And you saw Mr. Sata rampaged through that election and won. And Rupia Banda was second, Hichilema was third. 2014, now we can see how the politics had evolved. President Hichilema now had purged all the senior people that came from Mazoka, the Emmanuel Wachipukas, all these senior people that had come with Mazoka. You see them in the 2011, they are being shed away. He's introducing young MPs. By 2016, the MPs that the president introduced, most of them you don't even know them. They are of no repute. They have no public profiles. His focus was, I think, to control the party, and to control the party with a firm hand, because it's very difficult to be in the opposition. But we've seen this characteristic emerge even when he became president. So by 2016, he had fashioned the party around himself. It was no longer the party of Mazoka. It had these new people that were just loyal to him. Most of them are known. Most of them introduced for the first time. You had people like, even young people like Romeo Kangombe, ale ibafye mukula tree, kuria kuse sheke na limu ishiba. I used to be, a PS there. He introduced characters like that. And the quality intellectual leadership that Mazoka had introduced were all purged. And there were a few, like his lawyers, Jack Mwimbu, bulldozer like Gary Nkombo, and others that remained in the party. By 2021, when he's winning election, he's totally in control of the UPND. And in the last 5 years, you've seen how he has gotten hold of the country. But the way he treated Gary Nkombo, many people feel that the president has repaid good with evil. Let us assume, because we know that there are MPs that voted against Bill 7 or stayed away. Gary Nkombo is one of them. Elijah Mchima, Newton Samakai, and Elias Muwanga. So Gary Nkombo, who was Minister of Local Government, Elijah Mchima, Minister of Health, Newton Samakai, parliamentarian who was resigned from the UPND from Northwestern Province, Elias Muwanga, who was a Minister for Small and Medium Enterprises, did not vote for Bill 7. Here on the platform, we challenged Nelly Muti. Produce the Hansard. We know the number of MPs that were in the House. And the results of 131 and 136 do not tally with the number of people that were in attendance. And also for the PF, we wanted to know which of our MPs, because 30 of them, of our PF MPs had voted for Bill 7, yet, there was a 2-line whip that they shouldn't vote for Bill 7. So we demanded for that answered. It has never been given up to now. Even when the president alleges that these ministers who he had to punish and fire voted for Bill 7, who actually deny that they didn't vote for Bill 7, the answer is produce that answered. Nelly Muti should produce that answered. That answered. The record of events in Parliament have never been produced to date. And so it becomes speculation, and that people are being punished on unverified information. Information that we can't document or cross-check with the official records from Parliament. He is president, he could have access to it, but he's being totally unfair by hiding the Hansard report of the day when Bill 7 was passed. So the president there, you hear him saying, but Elijah Mchima is still loyal to us, Douglas Yakalima is still loyal to me, and Mulambo Haimba is still loyal to me, so why isn't Gary being loyal to me? You haven't treated him well. You've treated him as a pariah. And when did it become an offense for Gary to interact with people from the PF? We want to bakwalesa. Ngai fofo ekarama politics, and we are friends in the MMD, in the UPND, in the PF, in NRPUP. We are friends everywhere. The president wants us to promote politics where members of PF and UPND should not meet, where members, because he's crying that while he was being harassed, he was being persecuted. Gary Nkombo was having tea with Lusambo. Gary Nkombo was having a drink with Kaiser Zulu in Kafue. And he seems deeply offended that Gary Nkombo could meet the people from PF when he's being persecuted. What I have known about our politics is that we project hatred on our supporters. We are extremely cordial to one another. I've met the president in the bank, I'll not name the bank, but we go to the same bank. And I've bumped into President Hakainde Hichilema. Before he was president, very often we'll be seated waiting for the manager and I come in. We greet each other, People are civil. And I know, for example, Kaiser Zulu and Gary Nkombo are somehow related, either by marriage or something like that. So are you going to stop those relations? Are we going to stop talking to people in UPND because we are members of the opposition? What kind of politics are those? Is that the Zambia we want, where Gary Nkombo is being punished and you can see the anger and hate by the president? That Gary Nkombo interacted with members of the ruling party while he was being arrested, while he was being prosecuted. Mr. President, when you were being arrested, who did you call first? You knew who you could call. Some of your senior people, like some, your vice president and others, disappeared. But Gary Nkombo turned up. I think even the rift you and GBM had was that GBM, when you wanted him, didn't appear. Of course, he came to court later, but that was one of the issues. The person who turned up was Gary Nkombo, and I think that Gary Nkombo hasn't been treated well. We should just treat each other very well. They can part fairly, amicably. If Gary Nkombo wishes to pursue politics and he wants to be president, he wants to maintain as an MP, that idea can be respected without going to a great extent of abusing each other in public. You've seen even on my forum, I refuse to abuse the president. I don't call the president names. I have insisted I can deliver my strongest criticism against him and his government, but I will not abuse. I've never abused, even Thabo Kawana, who's constantly abusing me. Any person that I differ with, I've never used my platform to abuse him. Because I think that the discourse should be a contest of ideas. I can say you are wrong in agriculture, in your financial policies, you are wrong here and there. I can say in the strongest terms without abusing you, without reducing the debate and decorum. Because the words we use determine if we are going to have peace or not. The anger we raise in our people can determine even the post-electoral process. Yes, we are angry with him. Yes, we want him to go. But, there are things that we should do and we should do properly. So President Hakainde Hichilema can differ with Gary Nkombo. Gary Nkombo doesn't have to be humiliated, abused in the manner that the president abused him. And he's a number one citizen. But Chilwa will tell me one story that I'll tell you. That the danger with the president is that his mood, his words and his actions can be acted upon even without his knowledge. So let us imagine every day the head of intelligence comes to the president. Mr. President, ichalo tuikele fi. But atwikele wino, mwambale chitefi, manyo mwambale chitefi. Na mailofuti wa intelligence wise. Your Excellency, the public backlash to your policy. Mwambale chitefi. And the president is getting annoyed, sometimes even walking or storming the office because of what Mwamba is doing. What do you think the intelligence will do? They will say, so Mwamba disturbs the mood of the president to the extent that the president is failing to run the country. They will take it upon themselves to deal with that individual that the president complains about every day. Without his knowledge, they may even take away the life of such an individual. So if you see the president spew that venom, I used to say every time he held a press conference and he was talking about Malanji, Lusambo, Stotela, Nixon Chilangwa, I said it's not possible that these colleagues of ours are going to have a free and fair court process. There is no way they will seek justice. If you see the anger, the president constantly spoke against Lusambo, Malanji and others. It was very clear that Edgar Lungu would not have peace, that Edgar Lungu would not have justice in the manner the president publicly used strong words and feelings and emotions against these persons. Mr. President, moderate yourself. Harm may befall Gary Nkombo with what you spewed yesterday. The president must be above this personal and private emotion. The president must be a father to all. That's what a president must be. Grefford Monde has, before I open the phone lines, Grefford Monde has resigned. He has joined the UPND, but I was rather disturbed by the words he used. Let me check. I want to check the video of Grefford Monde and the allegations he spewed against Makebi and Brian Mundubile. I'll find it and I'll play it later. So we need, first of all, to condemn the violence that has occurred across the country. And Brian Mundubile, leading candidate of the opposition from NRPUP, has challenged the president to stop the violence. It is within his powers. He has called on the president to ensure that he arrests the rising instability in our country. He says the country is enjoying peace and we are conducting peaceful elections. They are not peaceful in any way. If we saw the damage done extensively to motor vehicles that belong to Brian Mundubile's convoy, most of those are private motor vehicles, and it's unfair, to destroy public property in the name of politics. Rose Chumpuka, who's a Socialist Party candidate in the new constituency in Masaiti district, Kalalangabo. There's a new constituency called Kalalangabo in Masaiti. Rose Chumpuka, who was a candidate for Socialist Party, has just dropped her resignation from both to run in that election, and she has also dropped her support. I mean, she has withdrawn from the race, and she has resigned from the Socialist Party, and she has rendered her support to Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu ticket. She has even offered to conduct the final campaigns because the NRPUP doesn't have a candidate in Kalalangabo, in Masaiti. And she says she can do the campaigns both in Masaiti and Kalalangabo in Masaiti for NRPUP candidate. And she's also ready to coordinate with them in setting up polling station committees, in coordinating the vote protection program. So that is the development regarding Rose Chumpuka. She's a senior ZMBC staffer. She's been at ZMBC for a long time. But I've seen that she's tried to stand in Masaiti since the days of Mr. Sata. She's been a director at ZMBC, and even now she went into politics. I thought she was our candidate, but later I learned that she had filed under Socialist Party. So she's just probably coming back to members of the opposition. Is there any other matter before we open the phone lines? I think we've discussed the case of Macpherson Mkuka and the letter from Amnesty International demanding his immediate release. ECZ have finished the printing of ballots. They are printing 9.1 million, yet there are about 8.2 million registered voters. They are printing more by over almost 800,000. Greyford Monde has left the opposition and he has joined the UPND. It's his remarks and open attacks against Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundubile that I do not. You cannot just leave your people, your party, without insulting your colleagues. We sat together, we ate together. Isn't there a way we can conduct civil politics where you go and you don't have to insult others? Why don't you go join President Hakainde Hichilema and extol his so-called success of free education, CDF, these mines? There is a lot of stories you can tell why you think you are joining. Do you have to insult, disparage, scandalize, defame your former colleagues? That is a politics for a young man like Greyford Monde. I object. Him and I were progressives in the PF. He was pursuing the presidents with progressive ideas. And I liked him, Womlam, I would call him. But to hear him on the podium today, I was totally embarrassed to hear a young leader. Mwambo kujoina bena Sande Chandandadas, bena Robert Chavinga, how vane, your politics, Greyford Monde, are far above that. You could have joined UPND without defaming, slandering, insulting, and attempts to destroy your colleagues. And so if Brian Mundubile wins and you are not going to come back, you think the internet will forget that video you insulted him? Come on. Why can't we do politics in a manner that tomorrow we meet and shake hands? The allegations you put against Brian Mundubile have not been tested in a court of law. Even the arrest that was done by the SEC of Build Trust or anything that they want to do have never gone to a court of law. The investigations, any criminal investigation against Brian has never been tested anywhere. So how do you allege and put an issue like Brian Mundubile is guilty? And then you say those two boys are not qualified. What is this video? Let me look for this video so that I don't put my words in the mouth of Greyford Monde. He's a good friend of mine, but I want to rebuke him. I want to rebuke Greyford Monde because those politics are beneath him. That's not the Greyford Monde we know. He's a progressive force in our country. So for him to degenerate, descend to those dirty politics, I was not happy. Let me look for the video Mwantu Akwalesa. We play Greyford Monde and we discuss him briefly before we open the phone lines.
Ba Zambia, ba youth, mwema farmers mwalubuka. Tubukishi miaka Lord's heading, iliashili ya buino talifisama. Tulefwa intungulushi shamano. Mundo bile na makebi. Miaka ya kala kwa limisebo ama bridge, ma school na ma hospitals. Abantu bale mfwa bwinu impia shale sangwa mu matown na mu compound numba shisangwa fye muli bapompwe. Batile bakaleto buyantashi bakawamya inchalo efyo batile numba abantu bale lila kumitengo shafya kulya imitengo ya fuel. Ifwe tule fire ma solutions te fya kulumbanya fye pa pepa. Mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fire lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikila intungulushi shamano. Abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tule fire in free tule fire ulubuto. Mundu bile fye na makebi mundu bile fye na makebi. Baletila, rule of law, number bantu baletina nukulanda. Do you have a lawyer? Selective justice, momenso ya bantu ifunde lonse lifwilele abali ya muntu onse.
Leadership is twofold, and in this twofold there is public service and there is private service. Those that are claiming to want to run this country, we can check them on both fronts. How did they perform when they were in public offices? What is it that they can point for to the Zambian people and say, this I'm able to do? In fact, their positions were provincial ministers. The two of them were provincial ministers. A position that is lower than that of deputy minister. How can Zambia entrust its leadership, the president of this country, into provincial ministers? How?
Nubasahima. Baba wazanda kuhima. Wavile kabarima junior ministers. Ubasunu balamba kwamba. Balako yakwe hindele yachishicheno. Ubuti nubasahima. Ubuti.
In public office, they failed to attain a simple position of cabinet. In fact, I was their boss. I was a full cabinet minister. Provincial ministers cannot claim the experience to run a country. That is public service. If we went into private service, we know that one of them, in fact, the leader there, ran a company called Build Trust. Is this road being built by him?
Ngazo makani abuli kanubasahima. Wezo wazanda wakala mpiweso. Kali junior minister. Ukutari umisa menda mamonde. Ndaka kuli senior kwa kwi. Mwaka wakote Build Trust. Umaka kila kupangia hila yedwei. Endi mwendo mabampu. Wezo nguwena.
We have suffered so much as people of Itestes, and that you know. On this road, there are two parts. There is this one from Itestes to Mwengwe. From Mwengwe to the Mongu Road Junction. Tell me, you know that the Mongu Road Junction to Mwengwe was the Chinese.
So, achipona kwa talechta impressed wa Hakainde Hichilema. Hakainde Hichilema came from the private sector. He's never been a councillor, ward councillor. He's never been a parliamentarian. He's never sat in parliament. He's never been a deputy minister or minister. He shot straight from private sector to become head of state. So where does that leave that argument of Grayford Monde, who says Brian Mundwile and Makebi were junior ministers because they were provincial ministers. Come on, Grayford. That's beneath you. In fact, it demonstrates your lack of understanding of public service. It demonstrates your lack of understanding. They were MPs. They were in the House. If there's anywhere where you can learn public service, it's to be a parliamentarian. Brian Mundwile has been leader of the opposition. He's been chief whip. Then he was provincial minister. And then he's a lawyer of record. He's a lawyer of distinguished record, studied up to master's level. He's been a renowned businessman. And you say he's not qualified? No, Grayford. And later he uttered some tribal remarks that Grayford Monde was not, that we couldn't allow him to lead in the PF because we are tribal. Again, that's beneath the belt. We interacted with him in his capacity as a leader. He lost election because of his lack of adequacy. It has nothing to do with tribe. And he's been a floating bee recently. He went to my dear brother Harry Kalaba, and I think he was supposed to be a running mate, but I think Harry Kalaba chose someone else. We saw he's been a floating bee, and finally has gone back to the UPND. These politics, I am a politics, when Sande Chanda, when Robert Chavinga, should be behind us beginning 2026. Can we conduct proper civil politics that are based on issues and policies? What you are going to do for your country and for your community. Don't stand to slander your friend. Just say why you think that the candidate of your choice is better. If you we should be beyond that. We've been 62 years in office. Shilenko avena mausampa na Sande Chanda. Okay, the lines are open. You can call. I've seen the lines have been buzzing. You can call and let's hear from you.
I don't want people confronting me like this, because where I grew up, we fear nothing. When you confront me, you're creating a problem then.
Thank you. The lines are open. Someone says, why don't you respond to Kawana? Kawana is beneath me, totally beneath me. And I'll tell you why. Hello, caller. We have our first caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador. It's your lost brother, Robam.
Robam, you've been missing in action. Let me just increase volume. You are very faint. Just a minute.
Okay.
Yes, Robam. Make your contribution.
Thank you so much. No, I've been watching and listening and learning almost every time you watch your show, and yeah, it's with the topic I want to speak on Grayford Monde. And the level of disrespect that some of these people are showing, it just shows that they've been, these guys, some of them, they've never been true PF. Even though they were just agents, and they're just going back where they belong because they've just been posturing to be with us on this movement. And time has a way of revealing things, and we see them now. Because for him to be accusing them as just like small boys, they are failures and stuff. And when we know, Makebi is a young man. But some of the responsibility that Makebi has asked to do, some of this, even the senior people in our country, whenever they had issues and they needed legal advice, they were running to Makebi. He was a very young man. This has nothing to do with age. And if Makebi's and Mundwile's responsibilities and positions they were given.
Robam, yes. Not to cut you. Your new Prime Minister, Andy Benham, was a mayor in Manchester. So according to Grayford Monde, he can be Prime Minister. Barack Obama was a junior senator from Chicago. But he's one of the best presidents that the United States has ever had. Andy Benham, the guy that has just been from Manchester, is promising already that he might be one of the best prime ministers you've ever had there in the United Kingdom. So it's just ignorance, total ignorance.
It's true. It's true. And now we can see here in terms of what we're saying. Actually, even us, we can point to the issue that now the reason why Hakainde Hichilema has failed is because he's never had a public office. You know, because you can see that he's out of his depth, and it just didn't make sense. Whatever he was trying to say now, it speaks volume of the kind of person that he is. You know, even the people that is joined there, they will never trust him because some of the things he said there. You look at Nevers Mumba. Nevers Mumba was made vice president, but even the way he moved into that position, he had never been an MP. You know, so sometimes even Kaunda, you know, when Kaunda became president of Zambia, what was he doing before? You know, so it does not just make sense. Sometimes when God allows it to happen, it's called grace. It doesn't matter sometimes what someone was doing, but presidency is not about the individual. And this is the problem that we have with UPND. They think running the country can only be done by one person. But presidency is about people. It's a team thing. And there will be a lot of people that are specialized in certain things. Some of the things it's you, issues to do with diplomacy, you will come in and you advise from your experience. But some of this type of politics, for me, it's they're heartbreaking. And you know, it's them politics, and I'm going to say this in Bemba. I don't know what some of these boys from our church are smoking or they are eating. You know, it was that man is a respected person in our church. Never for an master guy. Uniform.
Robam, when you say our church, please explain to the audience what your church is. Which church is it?
It's us here. That gentleman is an Adventist.
Okay.
But what I'm just saying there is, you go there and you're doing politics. Just talk issue-based politics. Because some of the things he was spouting there, they didn't make sense. And I saw the same attitude from Max Muwe when they were interviewing him about FRA and stuff, where you could see even they have no empathy, they have no emotions. It's like all the suffering that the Zambians have suffered in the last 4 years. Greyford Monde just says, I don't care. I'm going back to Hakainde. Whether you guys landed Namuchura, I don't care. I'm going to say thank you very much. At least we know who he is. Some of us, we knew that this guy was just an undercover agent. He was just pretending. And my God, like UPND, they've played it so well. It's like KGB style, where they've planted people there. And we sit with them, we talk to them, and we feel like they are with us. But time has revealed, we know who they are. You know, so all this confusion that they tried to bring, trying to protest and all that, they were just trying to delay the whole thing with Makebi won. But thank God, God's plan was not what we thought. But it is now. It has changed. The alliance has come together and things are happening. It's the pressure. And we know Makebi, whenever they have issues, and I know one way or the other, even Greyford Monde, if he finds himself in some legal issues, he will run to Mukuli Makebi. Without him, Makebi will run at Mwaichi. You know, and he has no experience. You cannot go and start talking about the people that you worked with like that and calling them, no, I was their boss. Come on, that's not how we do politics. If we can talk to people like that on a podium like that, imagine what he says in private.
Thank you, Robam.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's Robam from UK. He hasn't called in a while. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mamba.
Good evening.
I'm going to Anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
Okay. Na pusha bena Zambia bonse konso kumudi mkwai. Tule mwana bonse felicitika mchalo. Pakwambira okulanda fingi nombala na laputa sumpa wila mkwai. Lero tu atambe fintu fingi chachitika kukopa belt uko diarrhea ma opposition leaders for their campaigns ile trangati bamundu bile kuba kulakene kukopa belt kufumana mailo nomba ba police nawe mapaswaka abo bale chita interrupt move yaba mundu bile ba president Hakainde nga kuti bamonako fe ekintu kwe bati ebapange program okuti imwe mufire okubeyo ukuboko elo ba president akainde bali chitire bali lesa campaign kulia kwa kaputa atipantu kwa omuntu takwafuire omuntu wesu wa opposition kwafuire abantu babo aba UPND abalirwa beka pamlo andu buli rwabo abene ba UPND munga ndomo ba upano mukashino mulume balwa bapumana babiko omulando pali baneba mubakushe napa ba council mubakushe papa. That's the mibele yaba president akainde turefa efyo bale pepesha konso kubali aba akainde ati peace in the country takuli peace bale shaba babiri do mulilo ukubaya mukulanda ati omutende that kind of a president mwebena Zambia saleni ko bambi 1-2 namuna nalichindika sana ba Greyford himonde naine yoni monde wa monde nalibachindika. Yes, nalibachindika sana. Nilo na bamwende pa presidential candidate list ya PF. I was very happy with him still. Very happy. I didn't choose the president from there. Nalepe brati PF convention. Rofionse fiachitika pakati hapa umosa mwena Zambia mwalimwana. So, hapa pakati, Bahimonde has been quite in shashimoga kubachita track. He has been on my mind. I don't know, shishimoga kubasanga. But where is he participating? So nomba twaba muna bali kukila ku UPND. First and foremost mwena Zambia wonse. Ukuchinja political party ni behavior pattern ya Zambia ni standard of politics. Ukukuma bulaya kuliba mwamba kwa baba Afrumi, balile ni mutambo, wonse ba Beverly Ikunda. Kulia kwa bafia ati maybe 2 major political parties. Ba Congress, ba Conservative, ba Labour, ifya msango wa America na UK mwalifu kufishiba. Epo ba shupana pala peni nokusupana. And they rarely cross flows. They are very disciplined. Nangu political party ya we are losa shani shamefully. Tabaya ukunoku, bekalafi. But Zambia, maybe it's the way we see presidents treating their opposition leaders. It's all from Bakaunda that he stayed that long. When Chiguba came with this movement, Bakaunda didn't believe it. Bayamboku pakasa these upcoming multi-party ambitious people. But nde lomba kokutila mwema youths mwemisepela mwela lil sambira ma politics nokutimuka afwe kokuteka abana banenu. Please learn this. Try hard to somehow purge yourselves of this kind of character of kutitikisha sana ama opposition leaders ukubonfya bakapokola ukamliba mwambanga kuli conference or congress ba Fumi wonse okoba lile Mutambo ba Beverly Moore Brenda Beverly Kunda mulamanako ukoba conservative na ba opposition babo na bulabishikubale chinja prime minister wenu ko ku UK mwalimu napo olwa nine sana ba metro police bayaba le mikonka bayaba le konko kunoku bantu kokufyala mwaika campaign door to door. So nina niengiri lo mnankwe mwe bantu bakwalisa yu Zambians tuilale nga president pay time atupange finama ifya kuimina aba nensu atupange fiswango ifya kusansa aba nensu ama politics look at my president hakainde ifyo bemine Gary Kombo ukumulandile fintu ifibya there is churufya tayari na wale landira ukusase memfa pali kaka pali Gary Kombo Zambians tetubefyo please change any bakaunda bali chitikisha abantu in his own way but please chalisa toboloka somewhere inokulira kwanti kwa kutila ama Zambians chila muntu ine vocabulary tuchitire adi tuichivemba ati ukuichema umuntu nomuntu nabana nabakashibako munganda natule ichema in the way we carry ourselves in this politics tete abantu bale kupanga chinama chakupata omuntu mubiyo niwe bo afyalwa kumwana kashina we alifyala nabana bobe wonse mwaya mukuyimini na Gary Kombo ukulamwe bati walafwa walashikwa ushakashikwe nani Hebrews 9:27 ila tuweba it's appointed upon every mankind ukuti kufwa thereafter judgment so iwe dole bakutumire bakulipire mpya tulye kabiye mukulanda infwa pali ulya muntu how we reverse those words in Jesus mighty name ichintu chimbi baba bene ba Himonde ba Greyford Hamonde imo mwe bantu ba Greyford Hamonde okulanda kwabo pali bene pali bantu bayinika the two boys commanding waves no befa ningalanda. Look at the waves the two boys are commanding ba mundu bile na ba Makebi Zulu. Ati they were his juniors. Uyote mlandu. Bantu na panepene tu in calendar. Our President Hakainde was never a section leader in any of our Shanti compounds Muluzaka, or even in Southern Province of Bafuma. He was never a political cadre of maybe Palevo Yabu section leader or ward leader or council or whatever. Never. He never tested those lowly officers. Why should I say bang? But I'm fishing abantu abali mu UPND kale abantu amene bamazoka step out of MMD with. So we're grateful for him. It's lack of this knowledge, lack of this understanding, lack of knowledge of the background. It's generational to have wisdom. It's generational to be schooled. If there are no people who are schooled in your family today, please, you can start. Baba bobe, baba school bobe, ama cousins bobe, ama aunties bobe, so that the next generation baba kwa basambirira. If you Ingalando Kwati, Bela Mita Kuma campaign meetings, Basido Kumieva manifesto, Bala Miebo Lupato Wamuntu no Muntu. Ayoma politics, Leto, Kuson Kolavaka Pokola, at Kasansen, Brian Mundubide, but to Beni Miota Kashakwe. If issue we buy back a kilepobana kachinda limbi, it's because Balandiati Ubututu. Imamwebantu, Ubututu which song ignorance. Ignorance just means you are not informed in a particular area. Kunokwakaputa, we understand that English. To somebody in free education yakwakaunda. So, ikala imamwena Zambia, ukusanguru echinama, bakupanga echiswango, kumubio kamutete, kamukome, kamuipae, elonkupere akapoto. Elo wisa ugwele de mchalo. Ukuwelela mchalo kuleisa no mtendo wa kwalesa. So if you are president Hakainde Balechita, ukuya takes a meeting without presenting any point of his manifesto. Manifesto kulanda pali ukubifia ikishna yakwa Gary Nkombo. That's a citizen who has been in politics before Hakainde came. Vali uko kuma businesses yabo yaisa privatization ya ma companies ya Zambia bali komele yashitisha bale yashitisha na pamutengo uli unono bambi abantu tatwapa kama pensions yes kuma government parastatals twagombere. Why? Those pensions bali pire ama individuals bali mba pension check mishna ya muntu umuntu no muntu alia, and we have discovered this bantu alia kuma lawyers abo bantu bali pire bafuma ku particular region. We engaged lawyers to asangati ama lawyers yalanda abo bantu nokufa balifwa. So to alilusa, he was privatizing. To alili left into thing pali ba president akainde today that he is president, it doesn't mean he has everything perfect around him. To chiri tunalia to apkama pensions yeso kuma government parastatals to agombere. So when we agree for him when the mwaya mku joina icho pancha UPND kaviye nife miye chisana drum beat chenshi manifesto ya UPND not ukia mku chita despise or underrate or disrespect by bene Makebi Zulu and ba mundu vide. Don't do that. We agree for him one day kunoko mufumine mchipe mpatulanda ti tabashaba lona. You lived well with us in the opposition. Twice for ruling party. Now that you have made a choice, Mayaku UPND, Kaviya and Feyama. Kaviya and Feyama, Tapali Umlandu. It's a standard of politics in Zambia. Tamushita rest in one political party to work with it, to fight and correct things. Mulakwa tenso ndiose pabuluse. It's like Bakawana niba fly bedi fofine uko chafukire ko baya iko chali la iko twalola kwa echipelebeshe ko twalola. You can't be that kind of a leader uniwe washikwete ka stability. Mwamu mwana kaindi omwine omwajoinine UPND emwajoinina. He has trained his people to listen to him even in wrong things. They are to breathe his air. A lifestyle yakwe if you are mifunda imuwonza mwafika kulia mwalatu kwa abantu abo mwafunine na what they were your juniors. Now that they are your juniors imwe great for them ndeta mwe nati na bakata platform imbiyo beminine. The fact that they were your juniors, does it warrant that they can be a president and vice president next day? Mwebera Zambia muilachi tefyo. Mwebera Zambia tuilachi tefyo. We are one, please to apapata. Nga wanda kafika biye mumutalira. Kabiyo yo wombe na abantu. Muilachi ta bewitch abantu. I can't believe the words the president Hakainde bale andapali ba Gary Nkombo. Mweba to pray for Gary Nkombo. Those words alela ndana chiliva tayari. He's dying. Gary Nkombo is not dying. He's going to live long and declare the good works of the Lord on this earth in Jesus' name. He shall see the land of the living in goodness. In Jesus' name, amen. I'm not UPND, I'm not from Southern Zambia, but Gary Nkombo is a citizen. The good qualities he has of leadership enduring the growth of UPND from the days of Bamazoka. Indekuti na alanga na timuntu sana. Now, political parties most of the time babantu with good ingredients of wisdom. But Chibana party baliko na manifesto baliko, the conduct around them shapes them or destroys them. It's like Gary Nkombo was in a wrong ground. But let him go as independent. Constitutionally, he's doing the right thing. All the people that President Hakainde said, step down, step down, step down. He's got his own reason why he stepped them down. He like giving chance to the younger ones. Inga Gary, no, I'm sorry. Inga ba Jack Mwimbu. Ba Jack Mwimbu. But Jack Mwimbu is older than all of these. We need to have a push to step down. Imamwe bantu mule pepo kukwate obusokolo lwakwalesa. If leadership yesu Muzambia iji.
Thank you very much, my dear sister. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Anonymous.
Anonymous, Landenipo.
Mwamba, first of all, nalala ndapali ba president yazo mufyashi tafwiri akwata amashi wufya wa mwafwire Gary Nkombo muntu mo aba down to earth. Gary Nkombo na president yotuto amuvota down to earth shalande fyamano kwa patiro muntu kwa mufika tyadi ale mwina kubwalo imukusebanyi okulate moko na ola mashina banabo. Gary Nkombo aishibafirya tukamona baisizeta obabika ko bachama babo luno fishi fichitikako namumolofu balepuma abantu namumolofu balepuma abantu bapendi ila kwali Gary Nkombo baikele mu opposition yale control fintu bueno nomba bapita Gary Nkombo amolofu balebomba reflexitika atina. There is no way muntu tulalolela ba president badila ili abantu bunga pali 50 kwacha na 250 efetraisa infingi nokuba tumukalaji ankafunya ko efinka tashani ba president ino takuba paladi instead walelanda pakuwa chef yakulya nefo balalunda ko nabumbi ubufi bwa ma airport na fimbi bamukulanda pali Gary Nkombo fe ushikwa tena nchito uwe minine fe independent umwana ove inena amukulanda pali mwana wandi first born na iminina na pachulu kutubambona shani. That's why konse kuma radio station ina baba seka. Na baba seka. Ukuthi tamfira mara wandala pali Gary Nkombo. Gary Nkombo ngama mifungila shingi. Ngase pandola kuti aisula. Nomba aikala ngomwa nala batamba fyatiye. Mushaba nale diri ngala bwabo. Ero nomba la bantu abavotere fwe bantu. Twatira mushaba president twavote yaba. Musha wisdom iripi. Knowledge muto wabo ili pesa yako bati bakwate ngomu fyashi balapena bale kulanda pali ba Gary Nkombo bale landa pose bala bombela abantu ero bela ishishi mba lusaka imwe balusaka mwale pumashani ba Southern Province balusaka mukatulondolele ko mwale puma pantu nga bapalali balanda tumwale boma so mubalusaka mukatulondolele ko mwale pumila ba Southern na ba Southern mukalondoko balusaka bale myumina ili ashipa kuti lipwe tete vale tilali baya kubaisa mkopa belt one Zambia one nation baya ku muchinga one Zambia one nation baya ku Southern baya ku Isakudya bale myuma kabakala myuma mwale pumina ku isabantu ni station nshimwale bomina po mushamwale bakonkela kumayanda imwe balusaka bantu nimwe bafukire ekifo ekyo ukutira mwale puma ba Southern mwale puma ba Western mwale puma ba mwale bamina kwi katuishi mwandi ni mpapa ero lesa twafwe tule nidinga ma prayers sana Muzambia na ma prayers tule pepa ba mwamba lesale tuluira na ba muntu bilale bachita protect na ba makebi bale bata protect na isa kuri ba Greyford Monde ba Greyford Mondelo ba ICO baba chindike bali kuchindike ngomwa cyoko bati bamupati bakupela kona akafulo ka agriculture shatish livestock huko twala kuchindika na cyoko mayufi iwe tetu yo women ne papodia mwilo muleya fye mwamu kuilandira pabene ati na ijoina na ita mkujoina imo notu kwa mkulanda pali ba makebi notu kwa mkulanda pali ba mundubile Noti ukuya mkulalanda pali NRPUP party. Balandefyo mudi kulya mudi komu, Chavinga, na Masampa, ba Charity, mwebe ne mule ikosele shokutila ifo tuwaisa bushe tuwalabe ngwena shani, pantu bamyebela ati ngwena ni ngwena. Imwa mutampo kulai bati za Junior. Junior, bushe kuwa dibati ninebo sija mpolitics. Akoni kekala kumusambo katemenwe. Feva, ikala pali ponse. Imwe feva ngata ya ikele pali imwe ba Greford no komo haya bala mitola kanwa pufu kanwa kulanda sana kanwa atitondoa kanwa bakana kwa kutapakesa mtule imwe ba Greford imwe bo ba tondoko mwire kale isale nifia kanwa kenu mwikale fo buno lekenu kulanda pali makeb ya imineka with wisdom yakwe na knowledge yakwe nokuba humbleness kwakwe naba mundu bireko twabakonkela nga bali paladi tabatu ko muntu balanda pepe amano ukutukontrolo nepatesa sunge chalo chonse chichalo muto vele mona wile na muchona ula tuambo kulapata nonga umfolwa wakina chao yine nchiri wapeta na maboko bati nishini munongo tefu bakaunda balandi defu bakaunda bajisha balondolola buno sana.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you very much. Thank you, my sister. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Mamba. Mwabombeni pai.
Enstamayo mwabombeni.
Kabomba febwino na poshako badayana ebo nkonkere na bonse abale kutika kumulabasa wesusuma onaba posha.
Thank you.
Mama Nyirenda ndetu mina kusovalest.
Yes, Mama Nyirenda.
Ba mwaba champamba elo chansoni. Makamaka pali ba president beso. Babali. Umuntu mukulu. Eoda. Ungalala nda mashiwi ayabi. Aya msalula kwati yalia papabliki umuntu eo basala ichalo icha Zambia eoda wa mchechi wa kufunda abana nshishi benapanga ndapamwa wakatoshefe bafunda abana babo please twapapata tien tukwate amashiwi ayasuma paba nesu nangu na ufuile wa ikontolola ukwisa kuli badiswaniso kuli ba nani kana baba Maxi na bafika aba Greford Monde na bafika mu UPND. That's why batampo kulanda FPPF. Efe tumwela mama politician please twapapata ngero mulelia bwino tamfwayo kulanda FPPF mulemona lero nga mwafuma muchipani elo mwatampo kuyalanda FPPF baba nenu ba Greford Monde nga ebo basalire ngebo twasalire nga balera ndashani ngani balida babashani bena balefwa babe bakateka abana bo ngatabale basapota nga wafirwa ngatabakusalire kitabakusalire kino ekyalo nacho na ukomulando wa lupato ulupato na lufula muno mchalo mwesu moneni corruption efele echitika abo balesenda ama company kuyasenda kwati ma company yabo ukwabula omwenso ukwabula okutina bushe kino kyalo kireya kwisa makamaka abene bakateka balandiro ko bati naisa mkuteka ekyalo namala muno tabale konka bakateka fye bale konka ko fye ninsero kulaye baba nabo ama boys kula stashani mwana ni fresh tikakopa beoti ba brand mundubire na ba makebi zulu bantu ba muno mchalo chesu cha Zambia ero tabaka kwate ekyalo chimbya kino ekyalo kyabo bafuire batambo kula endera bati mwana nefe bale bakonka ero nishinabe eshibano kwishwa kwati ba brand mundubire na ba makebi zulu nishite ya kukampena kukopa beoti ngacho bale bakonkera ni chinshi ngacho bale tine chikuru ni chinshi cho bale tina bahika inda abantu babo bantu benadira bamakadazi bale bakonka bale ndo kwa batine digalungu so ba echo bale konkera ba brand mundubire ni chinshi ba president efe bachitire kunu mokufingi efe bale bepesha aba nabo lecho alalanda na pali no shtalelanda kwati fya FRA nachira bakonka ba mama lecho ngamule kutika lesale mipala pantu mle tuisura amenso file chika mno Mzambia mchalo chesu balesende fintu fye squatte fintu fya bobeka ero nga bafuma pali bu president nga basa kukuba konka bakaisiranda tifyabu fintu fye tule mwana fye tule onfwa shuwa babali ba HH nini shibamule onfwa kumulaba soku teke ni chalo mleteke chalo kwati mleteka abantu mwirateke chalo kwanti bana bakuyifyalira filafine mwala ilero mwali mu opposition efe tulefuayo kumona lero kuli ba Brian Mundubire na kuli ba Kebi Zulu twami papata lekenu kubakonka bali abantu namona nabawina kalero nachimupapisha bantu pa first mwalanda takuli opposition lero nabamirwali kaba Brian Mundubire na Makebi Zulu mlefi wokulala yonse po mwaya kutampa okulala ndapo pali bagali nkombo alana muluzira po amavoti ayengi bantu bagali nkombo abakonka bengi abalekonka imomlandu wabagali nkombo alichesheshe ukulonda ma elections yenu bushe gali nkombo ngale bomba na ba opposition ngali chesheshe kukashikisha meso so ibo mwali kunganda mwala lapo nokulala mwabuka mwasanga gali alerodesha ukulonda imwe ba HH ko batimwe ba president but fyonse feta mulefi mona filafina mwachilanda bamwambo kwe bati imwanga muri mu UPND ine ndi MPF kuleko kusashanya umlando kwatu abamma party ama chechi tuingira ama chechi yamo manasanga ti UPND na PF bonse balengira chechi imo kusoshanya nokulira chapamo lero bena balefo kwati pantu wena lengira mu UPND walengira MPF takuli kusoshanya maisa mkupatule chalo ifefena twafika mwishi na fira ya Yesu Kristo lekeni abantu balesoshanya lekeni abantu balelanshanya umlando wakwati muntu umo tetu tupata nomlando wa politics twali mona abantu abambi enali mu UPND umbeli mwemwe mdi umbeli mu UNIP abana bale opana mwana mukwisha sebere lero imwe mulekanya abanenu ngai mwe bamaosa mpabo tabalesangwa na imwe nichi chatorapo mpamba Nishita baba konkero kula tampo kula beba nga bayi mina kwati maosampa tali mwali basenda na bachabinge fina chando macho wandana bati mwe chimtali pomlando kwati bagali nkombo balepo sha ba opposition muntu asaka nkale so please nangu bana paneba bafwire bayangala naba nabo ine ndi mu UPND umbali mu PF bafwire bana bale yangala lero ine nkane tumira panga ndapela mlando kwati baganda PF nishifunde lyakana lero chechi bapepa ko ba HH prisoner papa tazvaeoda awe muikaleko nabo panshi pamilandile yo balelanda hivi bantu ali amashi bafunishe kulya kumyabo ngali umbi songa no opposition tulelanda panonga ali sales nomba bantu bena bali sende chalo chabo maboko mwabo but day mo bakesa isha pa 13th August ko batikansha abantu ba Mzambia nga balafulwa obubi era balina okumono ko bati kasha abantu ba Mzambia tababa bwino umulande mibombere yabo tayiweme muisa mukutupatulula tata mufuire mwatubika pamo one Zambia one nation.
Thank you, my dear sister.
Na totera ba mwamba ya lesale mipala tulesa mkumpokelera pa 14th August ni 13 na ipita.
Thank you, Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, good evening, Mamwamba.
Good evening.
Yes, I just want to indicate that I'm UPND.
Yes, my brother.
I don't want you to cut my call.
Okay.
Yes, Mamwamba, you know, the unfortunate part about you is simafuna kamba vazoona Mamwamba. Vazoona veva Mamwamba, simafuna kamba ona peka. Imwe naine tingacha agree Mamwamba. The truth is, mu PF even the violence community taona lero can never be compared to what used to happen in PF. Mu PF, when you talk about cadalism ya PF, ni akuti muzimai anyamula chitenge cha UPND apapirapo tomato yake saza tantika tomato yake. That is the cadalism that we used to talk about. Manje mumfuna cha compare cadalism kamini yaka, because you know when we talk about cadalism stick about winango saza mtema mwala hii. We're talking about systematic cadalism whereby in a very shitty Manchester nishini za menye wa mtauni nge cadalism etikamba. So you need to be fair wa mwamba ngamba bali cadalism bwanje you need to say okay, President Hichilema, you have tried your level best. Okay, taona chako na campaign muzi wa doctors asemivamni watungira virondas. We are talking about UTH in an election year mu PF bakapokola binu mpundu washtakambati when I leave this place, you're on your own. PF uzekapokola so. Mwamene baza kushatapulira, mwamene baza kungenesera mutanga. Ija CDF apasembia sevenza. Mwanapo CDF sevenza apwe mwamwa. CDF vie kweja bana gula kapokola semba pa sevenza mwamwa.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. I have to allow other callers.
I'm just going to conclude, Mwamba. I'm just going to conclude. The issue, Mwamba, then my issues, not combating our ediga, Mwamba, fuck my poster, oh, ediga on a cambasso, ediga on a faculty, so can you do the Rafusa and Dan? Funga much advice in Marabizul. If we watch it as if you are map, I think I'm Muntoku for test of son. And I can't give a temiaket, Namumania, 2.8. Abamanye ndibameza cha convince manje anafa imoshiwa mwazimbera muntu okufa sure no moche.
Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Mubita from Kafewa.
Mr. Mubita, make your contribution.
To start with, I would like to talk about the issue of Grefford Monde. I'm one person who had respect for Grefford Monde, but where he goes to an extent of using words such as, no, I was their senior, I was their boss, I think that is really hitting below the belt. A person like Grefford Monde shouldn't be seen to be using such words on the podium. That was really lowering himself. It's really shameful for him to utter such words. Then the second issue I'd like to talk about is the issue of FRA. FRA has been a very big scam so far. The FRA issue has been a very big scam, so much that I'm really surprised that people can do deals in such a way and even fail to pay back without any remorse, without showing even any remorse. This issue really needs to be dealt with. Come 13th August, we really need to look at these culprits. Then maybe the third issue I'd like to look at is the conduct of the police on the Copper Belt. The conduct of the police on the Copper Belt is really, it's really, I don't know, it's really unprofessional. Because especially where they even go on the stage with the intention of stopping a rally, when people had already assembled, I think that is unprofessional for the police. They were supposed to have at least looked at the people who want to bring the violence and to make sure that the people who are having their rally, they are safe. And like going to with the intention of stopping a rally. That was really uncalled for. And to make matters worse, as if they didn't learn from what happened yesterday. Today they have been seen blocking the roads and whatever. I think such type of conduct are really, it's really shameful. It's unprofessional for the police to be behaving like that. We expect them to do better than that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's what I would do.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, my name is Henry Hadi Lungu.
Henry Lungu, make your contribution.
Yes. First and foremost, I would love to make it clear from here that I'm supporting NRPUP. Okay? The reasons are very simple. The president, our current president, is a very unfair man. A man who cannot be trusted by his words. Personally, I was so close to the president. Even the time when I was jailed on his behalf in Livingston, I went to prison by his words. The prison which today Gary Nkombo is talking about, that is the prison I went to jail for. Okay? The president is so divisive when he's in Southern Province, my mother's province, where my mother comes from. So divisive. I don't know what comes before the old man when he's in Southern Province. Now, in my view, the president, when he was whenever he's in Southern Province, speaking in public, the language often is not fair to the general citizen. It is so divisive rather than unifying. At a time when the country needs calm, leaders should use words that promote national unity and reduce political tensions. The president is in Southern Province telling people to say, the people of Southern Province to say that other people from other provinces intended to kill him. Who wants to kill him? He has the intelligence information. Let him say it. Let the people know. If he cannot say it, he's lying. That one and that. The other thing that I was very much disappointed with the president's remarks directed at the family member of the former minister, Honorable Gary Nkombo, and who is a former member of parliament of UPND, a man who fought so hard for him. Okay, the president went to an extent of insulting his mother. In this modern world, a leader, the citizen number one, pointing at another citizen, issuing an insult, that which I cannot even explain it based on my age. Okay, there is no way he can say Gary can go and do what in bed with his mother. That was totally wrong of the head of state. The other said, whenever the president addresses meetings, particularly in Southern Province, he believes his message should reassure. I believe his message should reassure citizens and encourage peaceful coexistence. If there are genuine threats against any leader, okay, I mean, we have got the relevant authority agencies that can overcome that, rather than becoming a campaign rhetoric and falsely accusing other people. Okay. Finally, Bamwamba, this thing which I'm going to say here, it is clear and it is the truth. Take it or leave it. The UPND's message now, when they are in the bedroom, it is to send thugs, it is to send cadres to go and attack the NRPUP campaign trail. Why? They are looking for a way that the sympathizers of NRPUP should react. And when they react, so that they can use the police against the leaders and have them arrested in the last 10 days of the elections, so that they will not be able to campaign.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
And the last thing is which I'm going to say.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Mama, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for this platform. Ramwamba, the way we are going to cure this disease in our country is to speak the truth. Just like other callers, Awambi Avalandile Po, from whatever President Hakainde Hichilema spoke yesterday from Chikankata and Mazabuga. President Hakainde Hichilema is a tribalist. Ngatatwala ndepo ifishinka, we are not going to cure this disease. President Hakainde Hichilema is to believe in the old, where he feels that there are some people who stole the leadership from our freedom fighter Ali Mwanga Nkumbula. And that narrative, Ali Isen, that's an HH. That's why he is a tribalist and is very bitter. Now, let me deal with HH. HH is a human being who shakulile wino ekuba mukusishe. Filanga twakula kopa betu wale bati ali nimbuli ovale umanga ba uma akwate chikonko. Now, touch the hill, tapola, Effie Akule has never been healed from the way he was brought up. That's why he's brought up, even he's bringing up this anger even to the nation. But why am I saying this? Because if you look about the two people between Gary Nkombo and HH, Gary Nkombo is a senior member of the UPND than HH. Now, let's go back in politics. Both Gary Nkombo and the late Anderson Mazoka, they were MMD, together with Vincent Malambo and the late Axon Sejani, Rudik Shimaponda, the mention few. All of these were in MMD until 2000. So for HH to start accusing Gary Nkombo, who was a senior among ST2, doesn't make sense. He is just trying to tell the people of Southern Province that moneni abantu abatutemwa, because HH ngaya kumuchinga Eastern Province, Northern Province, Luapula, he speaks about one Zambia, one nation. Immediately entered in Southern Province, he changed the language. He was trying to incite or to ignite hate amongst the Northern and the Eastern region. This is the reality. Ngatualandepo efi ta change HH. Ale bonfia bantu other region to cement his vote, but when he goes to his bedroom, he shows his true colors. And alafu bonfia partly Western Province now, because Western Province in reality they are more advanced in politics than the Southerners. Alistair Jampu, he is going to recruit the Northwesterners, trying to incite hate against other regions. Uyumuntu is not good for the peace of this country. Ngatatwa Chenjele is going to divide, is going to sow a seed of bitterness and the regionalism and hate. Is not good for the country. For example, in Ndelanda Pano, our firstborn sister was married to Mr. Kabuiza from Mwenelunga. My thirdborn sister was married to Mr. Mwemba from Southern Province. Now here's the situation Munganda Tukwete. Here's a person who's preaching that. Uyumuntu bamwamba te musuma te wakwe bano gwe batama Zambiani bafire bamukonka bwino. Now we have got a lot of people waiting to contribute this platform. Let me conclude. File stika ku Copper Belt. It's a political script. And the Zalomis and everybody who's being given this opportunity to learn this election, but if Zambia, they'll be held accountable. In that script of Copper Belt, the justification of the police, broking, and whatever they're doing, it's part of the leaguing. They don't want the Tons and other groupings to do their campaigning in the Copper Belt. And these things, spray, because the next province these people that are going to enter is Northwestern Province, and it is Western Province, and the Southern Province. HS Zambiani for his benefit. Zambiani therefore we wake up to aliupana, we have migrated to each other to alikalapamo pene. So uyumuntu therefore weta fechimfurumfuru is not good for the peace of this country. Imomwe wale support HH trying to set your conscience and your peace. Is this person a good person to given a second term to rule this country? The way he's presiding of this, even the way the language is using when he's in Southern Province, that the way he's inciting is trying to install or trying to ignite hate amongst the region. Now, if you ask the people from other region, what are they thinking about? So you muntu te muntu musumaba mwamba muntu mubi muntu munkalwe for the peace of this country. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Bamwamba Mwabombeni.
Mwabomben Mayo.
I'm calling over nameless, calling from the AI Highland. Yes. Well, Bamwamba, there is something that I want to point out, which is also very important. First and foremost, Bamwamba, it says, do not argue with a fool, as you may be, sound like a fool too. I'm glad, Bamwamba, you have maintained your integrity. You are not so argumentative. You don't sound bitter. You always just let people talk, even when they insult you. Yeah, that's what we call being a leader. A leader should accept everything, every criticism. Bamwamba, power lies in people. You take away Shima from them, you lose the battle. Yeah. I'm appealing to all my brothers and sisters to vote wisely, Bamwamba. We are only left with the few days. I call them days. Yeah, because it's more or less than a month. Yeah. So let's vote wisely. I'm not going to dwell into so many issues because it's the matter of wasting time. Then one thing I want to point out, Bamwamba, therefore Kulando Kwebati, power is sweet. Elo power eilengo kwebati tuleipayana. Abo abantu abalevutauka ngempashi bafuma okubayo means very desperate. I just want to pose a question kuli abafumine bayo kubaya mukulande fibi ekyo ndefo okubekusha kyakwebati bushe elo mwali n'abanene mu PF tamwatemerwa okuba nabo tamwasangire mu efisuma mwalisangire mu obusuma nomba kuli kintu kimwe kyo mwalefwaya ekyo abanene tabalefu kumipela ekyo kirengera okwebati nomba mufume nomba muya mukulasa alula abanene tata tefo kyabapachalo iyo ingande yo lediamo tachiwa mawashala wabifya pantumulira ine nganda imo ine futuka bwerelamo chimbyecho ndefo okulanda Bamwamba ndefo okulanda pali batata babachisaisa ukwebati bamu UPND no kwamba okulachita compare ndefo okwebati tata ukubwelele numa ifintu tafyawa amayo abafyashi besu abaletu teka pali lelo elo baishile pa buntungwa balela ndokwebati bali will fix it nomba nga twala bwelela kunuma tuleya mukulala ndokwebati yo ba PF bale chitation ni stapali echo tulechita tufuira tuachita fix fidye fintu ifyale vipa tuachita fix lelo not tulechita compare ngamlechita compare ni stapali fidye chitika iyo emlandu ine ba mundu bile bebeli okwebati ifwe tulefo okwisa chita fix ifintu pandafo bene na tusambira pa fintumo ifyale vipa kunuma so tulefo atufiwana nomba nga twala bwerera kunuma tata ni ifinshi tulepanga bushe ifwe fwe bakaele fwe bayikalila tatumona mu efintu ifi bitulafimona mu efintu ifi fine efintu ifi butatulefwaya ngamwaipa yo muntu lelo teti mwisa mlanda panta yo walipa yo muntu mairo na la muipa ya lelo Mr. Padichire chitika aho bamwambe mashubi nkweta ayenza kulina yambi.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello caller.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello caller, yes, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello caller.
Hello?
Yeah, hello caller. Yeah, tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Okay, I would like to remain anonymous.
Okay, anonymous, make your contribution.
Yes, first of all, I want to thank you, Ambassador, for the good job that you're doing for this program. We pray that you are protected and that you continue, because it's we are reaching out to people and we are getting more views and what people are thinking. My contribution, I don't know if it's a contribution or just there's something that I want to talk about. I don't know if you allow me on voter protection. There's something just that has come up and I thought of maybe sharing on your program.
Please proceed.
Is it okay? Okay. So there's an incident which just happened where I am, and why I've resorted to share it because one of my relatives is involved. So she's a teacher at a certain school, of which I won't even mention, but within Lusaka. So at that same school, I was told there are people that went to that school and they told all the teachers, they forced actually, when she was telling me, she was like, we were forced to say whether you like it or not, you need to be the polling agent. And what we want you to do at this school, you don't even have to share it with anyone. So they should remain at this school. Never should you go tell your relatives to say this is what we are planning to do, this is what we want you to do concerning the elections. So that's how she agreed and said, okay, fine, we'll do it. But when she came home, she complained and said, is this how we are going to live? Because they are forcing us to do what we don't want to do. So instead, votes a vote is a secret. So they're being forced to say they need to, I don't know, at the polling station where she is, she's been told to say all the teachers will need to be polling agents for a certain political party, or which she doesn't even belong to that political party. So I just wanted to share with you, is it right for people to come and force people to do what they're not supposed to do?
Okay, my sister, I'll call you privately. I find out more details. If there is irregularities, we need to expose those irregularities. But I'll call you privately where I can get more details from you.
Okay, sure, no problem, Ambassador.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm still listening.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mutale.
Mutale, make your contribution.
I'll be certain point and very short. Ambassador, hearing those utterances of the president, it worries me as a citizen of this land. And all well-meaning Zambians, they should be worried with the president. Those remarks, trust me, they are tantamount to total division and the chaos of the land, because it shows that indeed the president has no forgiveness heart. Like the videos you posted earlier on, where he's saying that if anything comes ahead of me, confront me out. Where he was raised, he was raised in a stubborn way. He was raised in a violent way. That's what it means. So if you have a head of state, the whole lot of head of state, standing on a podium and preaching violence to that highest level should worry us. And even those people who are clapping for him, trust me, I don't know who they are, and I don't have any kind of words to describe them and to describe the president. But I, as a Zambian, it worries me to see Zambia falling in the hands in the good morals. Zambia has been raised, or Zambia has been talking, or Zambia has been described as a country of peace. If you remember, even people such as Museveni at one time, he said Zambia has been a place where we would run to seek advice. But today we are having a country where people are running away from it. We are now being described as a country of violence, country of crooks, country full of corruption. Not long ago, the ambassador of the United States described us as such. So if in the next few years, God forbid, we see this country being torn apart, people running left, right, and center, it's because of this man. No wonder President Kaunda had actually prophesied that this is a man who's going to divide the country. Ambassador, to see those remarks coming from the head of state, they should be condemned, and I'm glad that these things are happening at this hour. when people are about to go for, when we are about to cast our vote on the 13th of August. If you remember, Lisoniso not long ago he was saying that no any independent candidate who UPND is not going to produce a independent candidate. Indeed, the president also said the same thing. In UPND, there's no independent candidate. So you can tell that these are all the violence, all the wrongdoing that happened in UPND. The president is actually the one giving them the blessings. So I'm urging Zambian in my conclusion. I'm urging Zambian that we should turn in numbers to vote HH out, because as long as we keep this person, this man is actually sowing, planting hatred in the land, and he should be rejected in the ballot. And voter protection should be ourselves. We should not even wait for any other person to protect our votes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Is this Charles Kakula?
Yes.
Taboka letu tukachira bushikwatiwa ndai on whatever page it is. Charles, make your contribution.
To start with, Mwambawesu, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is a chief tribalist. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is a dictator. It is very sad that the highest office in the land, Nyombana yambo kukonka abantu one by one. Mwebena Zambia, if you remember very well, our president Hakainde Hichilema, he was in Chilubi. Ukuimina Chilubi member of parliament, Mulenga Fube. Kwa mwebena Chilubi, mwebena lengera ti Chilubi tuyaka nyapama constituencies yabiri ni Mulenga Fube mweka muvotela. Umuntu mawine dictator Hakainde Hichilema. Yesterday when he's on Chikankata, I mean no muntu kweko kutira ati gali ngomba will deal with you. Nomba, intungurushi ya imina fepa kuimina abantu. Nomba mwena Zambia usha, intungurushi isumeyo. Dictator Hakainde Hichilema, he has instructed the Copper Belt Police Commission of Police, Mr. Yui, to say, don't allow incoming president Brian Mondoya and his running mate Make Bizulu to campaign freely in Copper Belt. Uyu Hakainde Hichilema in opposition, muntu mo alaide ifufwe na Zambia, but when I form government, I will respect law of law. But Bushemwe na Zambia, na musekera mwafire chitika. Amakoti yesu mwadimono foba onaola. Ba polisi na ababonaola. Ule ya kuisa fyonse na abonaola. Uyu muntu is a proper dictator Hakainde Hichilema. Elo uyu muntu umo wabufi. Elo adi mu opposition Hakainde Hichilema that I will not tolerate corruption. Le longa mwaipisha skando ya corruption ili kunani kane ku FRA 54 billion na abashempa ba UPND kadana Hakainde Hichilema mebadire mwema farmers mwalichulire pakupoke ndala masheno mwalela ala pa mabanki na papene balandire fee price ya kushitafia mataba ni nkondo. This is July, end of July, almost in August. Ushe epo baringira okulandira umutengo wa mataba okushita mataba n'effimbi chakana mwali mwana konso kunu mofo mwale poka tapali umuntu umbi ungamira mwena Zambia mulei mwena fyonse file chitika balela ndati no ubuteko bwafuma kuba PF bale uma abantu Hakainde Hichilema ngali ku Southern Province, Western Province ali amukweba abantu kuli ati imwe bale nyuma is promoting hatred among the tribes. Inishi ale ku Southern Province, Western Province aleba abantu kulati bale nyuma nga mulea ku Lusaka. Ngaya ku Eastern Province, Muchinga Province, Wapula Northern Province and Copper Belt. Ayamashuita yomfuikapo. Nomba nishi muntu wa msango shani. Chabula ndokwa the highest office in the land is promoting hatred among the people. Ushomwe na Zambia. muntu mulefu okukonkanya okukola miteeko oyo omuntu ukuleta omutende pa bantu ena eminye pakupatulula abantu. The hatred that President Hakainde Hichilema has is beyond. Ero Kristo arefu mwebena Zambia lesa mwana lesa arefu alilandati mwilandirila muleirila mwebene efo mupitiremo 4 years lochedi na mwishiba mwebene ubunga omuleshito bwa dula na mwishiba tamwashita po ubunga bwa 50 kwacho ubamilai fiwe oyali dula fitraiza taisa pa 250 pay promised by Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is on record. Fionse fintu na firuvana transport yali dula bambita muyana mukulosha abantu nga bafwa nongola ndokwati ama transport yali dula nomba fo mulefu amukonkanyepo efyo umuntu mwamupera 5 years techasonte pofena mfati ni hospital yakutapo not even a technical secondary school takuli na message yakwe bavena Zambia patakuli. But Hakainde Hichilema is moving around the country just preaching hatred. Ukula bepa fyo we muntu nga walifiro kula pofena mfe chipatala chimu chitundu nanguli sukulu. Tuwa kula ma airport ma provinces yonse. Ufi wafitana fititi. Ero fira ba Hakainde Hichilema bale chita. Nga bapa malari bambo kula nanda tiyo tuwala mingishe chito. In developed countries, Hakainde Hichilema would have been disqualified by the institution which handles the elections, because what he's doing is illegal. We don't do that. Na brabe nyaba icherero bachipapa provincial administration kukasa amalero babe verify tishenya mapepa communication chito September fiabu fufu bari kwafe ma vote bari fo kubebira ero mwewe na Zambia monene. Ero Hakainde Hichilema in more position. That I will not tolerate vandalism in civil service. Let's talk about Tabo Kawana. The way Tabo Kawana has been misbehaving. Honest to a tonton kanyatu muntu ni civil servant. A senior civil servant but behaving full-time card. Ngamwaroresha this ambassador from South Korea, Andrew Banda. Ilemi vere tuwa itemwa. Tumoranda tulo muntu ni civil servant. Ngamwaronesha the behavior of this acting permanent secretary in Northern Province, Beauty Undupiri, is totally unacceptable. Ale forcing abantu ngani Beauty ku Northern Province, ale forcing ama civil servant that mwanzo mufirimu mwavotera pali UPND. Atavotera pali UPND nchito ikapo. Does it mean the secretary to the cabinet, Mr. Patrick Kangwa tabare monefyo? Ushaba Patrick Kangwa tabamonoko Tabo Kawana fuala UPND ligaria. Patrick Kangwa tabamona ko Andrew Bandare kwa tama press briefing alilanda me are here in full-time campaign webe na Zambia icharo fo tsingiro kwikara tefu twikere mu buteko bwa Hakainde. Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is a pathological liar and is a dictator. Namira dikanga kubwinga pa 13 of August 10 tuchinjo umuntu pantu tare twale icharo kuli konsa Hakainde Hichilema. Ndebe yamwe na Zambia nga mwapanga mistake kuvotera Hakainde again mukachula na yamalaiti mukwetaya tamuwakaya monepo again aba bantu bakalaitira fefi difyonze tenfunye po aba bantu abataba bavuino ero bantu babo fi bari kwa to muchusha bamwamba wesu na totera.
Thank you very much. I'll be beginning to take the last calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Mamba.
Good evening.
This is Mama T.
Mama T, make your contribution.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mamba. Therefore, I will konkana na badiaba brother that if inga tatule filanda po, we want to ignore what Hakainde is doing. Today on ule chalo. I want to agree with him, and I want to appeal to the Zambian people to say if you are leader abaleta hold the highest office muno muchalo chesu cha Zambia ebalesta divide abantu kyena takiweeme. Kampeni yabakainde natuikonka sana nga bayoko kuma north western ba southern province ba western province balefa okulanda okwe bati abantu abakulya bale boma muno mu Lusaka bale bakitashani nibesa abantu bale uma muno mu Lusaka abantu abalerwa bali amakadazi beka balirwa. And then bakainde nga bayapapotya mubalala ndokwe bati bali pena no Lawrence Banda nani kani uyo omulumendo bayipe pakabeshapa uyo omulumendo bayipe kumagoye nisho bakainde tabale mubika palisti abali abantu balerandapo bantu nabena bali abana b'abantu benzochoka ku makolo kwawo mabululu bawo nawo banayimvera peni okuti bana bawo bapayiwa. But the president batu abosi bakambapo. Zambia needs to heal. The way we are going, tachiwe menangula panono. It's not about bakainde chirema. It's not about Brian Mundubire. It's about healing this nation. We need to be united. The way bakainde balesta makampeni abota yaweme. What we expected from Wakainde Chilema was still expect to kutueva. Filefia Bala ida abantu mu 2021. Bali firo kufikirisha. And then he comes again. He gives more promises. Apana tumfokwe bati kwali abalesende nankani amataba ku FRA abalesenda ubunga ku ZNS. MPA shingisha kwa mwakulamu amasukulu mwakulamu efipatala mwasitamu efingi. That money was given to individuals. Abantu fyabanono, just a group of people. The president is not talking about that. When he was in opposition, he said to me, when I come, I want to fight corruption. Ababa PF abani bakabolala. Bali mpia. Nombe ishishile shasho kufuilo kwa bati abantu balesende mpia. Looting. Zambia ni money. Babika ma pockets yabo. Tabalelanda po. Bayoko bambo kulanda pali bagari. Inaba gari nganaba mona. Gari is a Zambian. But Stephen Kampiungu abobe no arresta mingo na bagari is also Zambian. Ama politics ye tushita separate for ibana ye tushita divide. Awe. So nomba bakainde. Iyo muletweba finshi. Because if I look at you, Mr. Kainde Chidema, you are an elder. You should preach love. You should tell people to love one another. Now you say that getting composed with people that are your enemies. More politics na mama permanent enemies. And if you have an enemy, because God is a member of UPND, he should also inherit those enemies that you have. How would they feel about president? Change any president, stay unite chino charo, kweba chino charo chibe buino. Amaka mpenza ya namu mona tayari fair. Namu mfoko fichitika kunanga no kopa beoti miotoka na batoba. But you are just quiet. You will not talk about it. This is what Hakainde does. He will not even mention it. You will be just quiet as if nothing has happened.
Thank you, my sister.
Bantu ba Muzambia, they back southern province bekawe. Mwela nesu wa southern province, isen tuikatane. Let's remove Hakainde Chilema for this nation to heal. We don't want this nation to be divided because of one person.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from, and make your contribution.
Hi, Ambassador. This is Queen Kumi from California.
My dear co-host, how are you? Make your contribution.
Thank you so much. Our Mwandi did you say Awamba Inji? Yeah, I am Maganaya. Never first in Janda, which address the president. Magani Govagamba, Jirogo Jankata, we are Kambo Kumuzi Condis, Wamamba Wojankata. ali mu mazwi yangu bagamba kiro so ni twali bana bali kutuma aya mazwi biyinga mbewenga yambya awamba kambo kuti nanda yabi ati ndiyambe so ndiyaba mama mbo bali kutuma so yali amazwi so swebo kondizwa ko munyowe yakojika nkata tatwambi so tulinensoni. Sorry, my tongue is failing me. But to the Nelson sana yamashiwe balandire. Me as a Tonga person, I'm half Tonga. I don't support it. And all well-meaning Tongas, we should condemn that language coming from a president. The other thing I want to say, bali wambati gari wali wunka bazwa mu parliament onkwa wakuchani okusoba n'aba PF. That again is divisive language. Kambome wa opondi vede kunda wetwe ndijisi bana botatwe mbondi jisi ba usimba gumbala no pondi vede ndimena musonda so ayamaga naleta bahaga inde akwambati ingabatonga tabata ngatabasobani amihobe imbi kubeja no batonga namulindi hwidano kamupanga tuma video not wamba ati bagainde gabamba baleta rupato nyo muri umuni we have to denounce this tribalism because mewo no pondi bedendi mena musonda ali mundi mwe namwira. Those are the names so now utindaunga wakusobana abachanda na jabuti kambo motu kedio muminzi monse mumanda turi wetendu guri intermarriage. So benajiga nkatogo ayamagani ngoba yanda gumuiha utewa muzonda mihombo imbiga mugaga kambo mbotu kede mumandom. Then from number 2 ndianda wamba oyu monde yo uniswabisize monde alimu anakona kubulaze ngata ni batafera kukubulera fera wena monde zono bulezi ku makande abo makebi ni abo president mundu bile kuti kibanana chwali aiba abo president mundu bile kima junior nelima junior officials kuwena mwa PF kingi batu zeno basika kuvotera mwa PF aiba wenane winzi senior kuwene yana aziba misebezi ka ufera mwale mwa PF mutu junior wa hao ma juniors wa hao neba kufite izi chwankuti batu batoa votera zeno bakufite izika kuri bakuboni kuri unanibwa ngano excuse my French kakuri hai baba tune bakuboni kuti wena unaningana kambe kiwena president of PF. My next topic, caller ulia. The caller who called talking about PF and PUP and what PF used to do. Okay, PF is with Mao Sampa. Alimwa abantu baba ku UPND bali ignorant maningi. Taba hiwuti PF waitola ngu Mao Sampa ano tupotukede ino tulimu PUP and alliance. So this nonsense kwamba ati umuntu obolo oteka kwamba yayichikaga indi ino PF baitola mbamba Mao Sampa bachavinga. Okuwena PUP na muliwe ni violence. Tagu olo danger kawona muntu wapia NRPUP olo tuonse pamozi guma muntu. Ndiyo mu mano baba UPND balike mulajana. I have my notes, Ambassador.
Thank you, my dear sister.
Then,
thank you.
And the other point, Chebamba witaba president, he make be aba president, mundu bile kuchima boys. Yongo cyber. That is a cyber crime because you are humiliating people. You are humiliating people and disrespecting people. Me, I have children, I have grown daughters. I cannot call them girls or boy. I respect them. You have to respect any adult mwana fena ngumwana opanganda kula kumuchindika. Abana bandidangani uli owa kwato mwana damu itafeti bana shani huko. Bana mukera bai mudishani. Nomba wa president uchibareita form a minister, people who are standing on the ballot with him are boys, and then now the whole UPND camp. You are calling aspiring candidate to be a boy. Shame on you. What will happen if that boy becomes president? what will happen? Think about that. So, but President Hakainde Hichilema, sir, please let us respect your opponents. Respect your opponents. And then lastly, on this, I want to talk FRA and then Zambia Police, then I wind up. So on FRA, I think FRA, you know, it is bankrupt. And for me, I just want to express my disappointment because I expected President Hakainde Hichilema to start ZNS farms and then saw that those ZNS farms would have produced the mealie meal for 50 kwacha a bag. And then these farmers, since he opened the borders for free trade, he can help them to sell their mealie meal in Congo for maximum profit. Because right now, the borders are open, there's free trade, and in Congo, a bag is fetching between 900 to 1,000. So imagine if our farmers were empowered like that. But look at what we are faced. And lastly, on the police, what is happening on the Copper Belt? I respect the Zambia police very much. And I just want to appeal to them to follow the mandate, their mandate. I want to remind them what happened in Rwanda. There was a genocide, and even here there was an insurrection in Washington. And you know how they caught all those people who were involved. For example, the latest one in the insurrection there, it was on videos. All these police officers, their faces, they are being captured on video. So, government is changing for sure. Police officer, ask yourself, is it worth it to risk your pension? Some of you are almost retiring, but your faces are captured. Here in the US, everybody was arrested. They were reviewing the footage, they were captured. In Rwanda, the technology wasn't there. But people, they are in court today for supporting these acts of trying to promote dictatorship. So, police, we beg you, do your job, and your boss is the Constitution. I submit. Thank you.
Queen Pumi, thank you so much. Thank you for that contribution. Thank you. Thank you. I've got two callers waiting. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
This is Muke from Zambia.
Muke from Zambia, make your contribution.
Yes, my first contribution is on the divisions that the president is making here in Zambia. For a long time, we've dwelt as one. I'm Lunda from Northwestern Province, particularly Mwenirunga. Okay? That's where I come from. Previously, we've had leaders and we've not known about this one is stronger, this one is Ira. All we know is we are Zambians. I'm an engineer where I'm working. I've got people that I work with, people that I've employed to work with me. They are different. Others, they are Tongas. Others, they are Chewas, But we don't look at that. We laugh together and, work together. What Hakainde is putting us in is something dangerous, of which if we are not careful, it might bring, genocide. We might fight here if we are not careful. So what he's doing is when he goes to Southern, he tells them, Wako ni wako, I'm your person, you need to vote for me, they hate you. And when he goes to the Northern region, he says, one Zambia, one nation. We are not going to tolerate that. Please allow me to speak in Irunda. Let me warn my people from the Northwestern Province. Am I allowed to speak in
Yes, Irunda, please. Yes, please.
Eno antangajamo ku Northwestern Province, kusorwezi, kumwenirunga, kuikerenyi, kuchavuma, kumufumbwe, kuzambezi, kasemba. Baye cheche nzina kuidimbo in the name of that you are Izimbuya. You are not even Izimbuyas. Okay? Baye nzina kuidimbo no Mbuya vote for me. Yenu antangajani. No. Don't vote on those lines. Look, he deceived you in 2022 when they had done a groundbreaking ceremony at Solwezi General Hospital, that they are going to construct now Akatunga Chipateri Chanyu. It has been 3 years now. Kanda Kachiki Kutunga. This man is a pure liar. And when he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources. Okay? So Northwestern Province, please don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. Look at the history. You are not even linked to this man. Okay? We've dwelt on love. And then the other thing I want to mention is some prophets, the so-called papas, they'll begin to flock into Zambia, especially this coming week, okay? To come and give prophecies. I want to warn the people of Zambia. The prophecies they are going to give, they may be based on, moods and what they are just using psychology. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 1 says, God spoke in old time by with using the prophets, but today has spoken to us by his son. God is no longer speaking using prophets, Mwelantu. The only mediator is Jesus Christ. So those people who come and tell you this one is going to win, because there is no opposition, you are not united, something. Don't believe that. Rise up, go and vote. Okay? So please, Zambians, let's unite. Let's kick out tribalism. Let's kick out this segregation that we are seeing. Today, let me conclude by saying this. If you've got someone you want to kill, you've got a grudge, you want to kill someone, just wear a UPND t-shirt and go and kill them. You won't be arrested. Is that the Zambia that you want? That's not the Zambia that we want. Murder is murder, whether I'm wearing red or green. Murder should be murder. We are kicking out UPND. We would have understood them on load shedding, we would have understood them on mill, but on the segregation, they are forgetting where we are coming from as one Zambia, one nation. They are forgetting the blood that our forefathers shed for the unity of this country. For that reason, we are kicking them out. Yes, we might have forgotten about load shedding and mill, but for the sake of peace, for the sake of unity, the unity that we've enjoyed for years, we are going to kick out UPN. Please don't forget to vote them out, please. Even if a man of God says they are going to win, he's lying. He's not a man of God. They just prophesy about winning. They can't prophesy about the coming road sheddings. They can't prophesy about the coming hand. They just, when they are given offerings, please don't believe that. Thank you very much, Mr. Man.
Thank you, my brother. I think we must be taking our last caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity again. Ambassador, I want us to speak on the FRA. The bag of maize is about 347 kwacha, and the payment model ikava digital. Number ine ifuna papa fie Swilis Desai, chairperson, I don't know if the board chairperson for FRA. When you look about Chikankata, there in Chikankata there is no any bank, there is no anything is happening. I just picked Chikankata, and when you go to Eastern Province, go to Lusangazi, there is Lusangazi district, there is no bank. You go to Kasenengwa district, there is no bank. You go to Rumezi district, there is no bank, no any facility. You go to Chasef, there is no bank. You go to Kasenengwa. Now, when they are talking about digital or electronic payment system, how are they going to affect those things? So, now we're dealing with our crooks. Our farmers, they should be very careful. The reason they have decided to bring the digital payment system or electronic system, so the process, just that process to do those things, it will take not less than 90 days, which is 3 months. As they have announced, they will organize maybe even 50 or 100 million in the first 3 weeks, just to dupe the farmers that they have got money. After that, ama farmers vakachula. My own appeal to the maize farmers, those farmers who have got maize, let the whole commercial bank in Zambia to tell the Zambian people that have got money to pay the farmers or whatever they're going to do with either electronic or digital payments, whether it's Airtel. You see, Baleangana life yabantu and the future and the way forward for the farmers. Bamwamba, this is about July. We have got only maybe 6, 8, 9 weeks. We are going to the second season, and they're treating the farmers like that. This government, we need to be very careful as Zambians. We should not be evaluate this government with the political lens. Let's look about these people. Do they mean well for the farmers? Do they mean well for this country? And where are we going? The second part, I want to urge the Munduvile and Makebi camp. Bafile organized properly. That script that I've seen from yesterday in Ndola and the Luansha, it's a UPND script, and they are not going to leave them to do whatever they're supposed to do, because tabako attention ya babantu aba. And also appealing to Commission Mr. Yui. You may be a starling, they can use you to do certain things. But the wise people have said you can not suppress the will of the Zambian people. Zambian people, there are almost 22+ million who are going to decide who is supposed to become their leader. There are a lot of presidents in this world. People all over Womfia, by Stefia, they end up in Hague. Or Wakwatama problem. Sometimes you also think about your family. It's not about you. You employed yourself in the service to secure or preserve or protect the Zambian people, not an individual. President Hakainde Hichilema is just one person. It's just an individual, which the Zambian constitution allow him to become the president of this country. Doesn't mean President Hakainde Hichilema is Zambia, or he owes a certain region or certain people. No. If he, to remind our brothers in the police service, Tonton Kanyeni mwalikwata na kumayanda na indupu ashenu. Ero mule chitao place sama fellow Zambian wenu. Tacha miafwe. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello.
Hello.
Can you tell us your name and make your contribution?
This is Infinite IQ.
Yes, IQ. Make your contribution.
This is Infinite IQ. My contribution is on minors.
On minors?
Yes.
Okay.
Minors.
Yes, make your contribution.
Can give dumping site to the foreigners or few individuals where you can just go and pick a dumping site to appear as foreigners. Zambians or citizens of Zambia or Copper Belt, they respect those foreigners and they leave you. That president, meaning, is not even thinking you like it's not even regarding you as a human being. It sees you like you're nothing. It doesn't even give you respect. So you don't have to have that kind of president for a long period of time. So as Oga coming, let's vote for Brian Mundue. And this is the only reason we can discipline presidents, because you cannot punish the president up. So you cannot punish the presidents if they fail to perform. So let's give an example to this president. Even Mundue, when he's coming, if he fail to perform, he will see that the Zambian people will kick me out. And we are going to secure the next generation and Zambia will be a perfect Zambia. This is my contribution. I wanted to contribute.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and your contribution.
Good evening, Bamwamba, n'abantu bose beekala kyalonda mbosha mwishina kwa Yesu Kristu, amen. Bamwamba nefe okutotera pali opportunity esampeera okwebati ningeesa panonda ndekopalifu mwefi ntufire kitika muno kyalo ng'efire akikitika kundola kuli bonse abantu abo abamundubire abakiraya kunani ndeeromba bamundubire nga mukakwata kw'amaka nangwishita nero mukesa mpula tungulu ekyalo kyesu akateeka ndeeromba okwebati muri fyonse efire ekitika mukwate okusambirirapo kimo nekikimu ekikulu saana ekyo ningalomba kulimwe bakateeka kyakweba okwebati ikikupa empula ekikulya nangufye palino nshita kuli abantu bamwe abakwebati n'abeesa mu mipalama bati mwimono okwebati abantu mulenda nabo kinshi n'alandira efi nga mwamu n'abantu abapala b'enandulubosha bonse balaba kwebati bakateeka bayisiyo baali bapalamiike leero ebantu bambirirepo okubataluka n'okubalanda efintu ifibi n'okubabombera okwebati namunfwa bikwata okulala mu kutuusha mu kibote leero tatwakwata amakala kukontolola amapange ya mulwani pamyeyo Yesu bati muri fyonse efire ekitika pesambala kyalo ndeeromba oko batsambire niko kimo bakateeka ekyo ndeeromba saana mutende mu kyalo n'okufumya akapatulula obutungulushi bw'abakainde ikiremanga mwamona n'emirandire kyabo n'amakampeni kyabo takuli kintu likyonse ekiweme mulifya akapatulula leero ndeeromba okwebati bakateeka mukese baba apusanako kakule niba civil service lekeni abantu bakakwata okuyibombera obutungulushi bw'abataata bakayinde butungulushi bwabukote bwakala efintu fyapita efi kuli omuntu omu obushikwala enjipusha okwebati bushara amaposa kinshekalire tondolo ero abantu ba mu South Africa balepanga ekyongo n'okulatanfya abantu bamufyalo fimbi naishiremu afika okwebati muntu andi umubi tera amaposa mulandu wa democracy efo ipiribula democracy ufire waleka abantu bakwata ukwirantira ekyo baletontonkanya takwaba okukaka abantu akanwa n'amoolu kwebati biranda mu kyalo ekiri kyabo twalamu mono kwebatira amaposa n'abiipa teekubiipa iyo nangwenga kimono okwebati ekyo balefu balanda abantu balya nga balefuwayo okuyirandira mu nshire yayo ba enshrined mu constitution ya South Africa n'abakwata amaka n'amaano ayakulanda so nga balekita protest kulanda tatulefuwayo abantu bamufyalo fimbi teera amaposa okwetta omulandu iyo efo democracy yaba abantu baali babakakulwa bafuire baleeranda bamundubire lekeni abeena Zambia nga mwayisa ateeka batata baba bakakulwa mwika bweshe ekibipa kibi kinankwe lekeni tukakwata okutungulula okulingana n'obufuwayo bwakwaleesa uyowumitire leero kwebati mwise mutungulule Zambia ero abo bayuyi abali kundola abo mwisakabana n'okusakamana eshalande fingi bati abo bayuyi bakabwalala bakopa ibashitishe shishi benefo bakiri balekita kundoloko abo bamirandu bayuyi abo bali bakope yo bashitishe kunani uko kumakongo balefwana okubikomu nabo winoyo bale bayibira kopo omufore n'omuzimbabwani shishi beke enkalata n'ensengi yali shakale yakumye batisereriko bayuyi uko nimwe bakabolala bakopa imwe nomanishi mwalafuwayo kuyiranga obutungulushi ala ngakwaba obutungulushi bukitefya muserundi abandemye bali kwisoko tebayikata konse kuba miniti kwaba efintu ofo bakitefya kwebati nga twafirete pabweru olobeba bututu ala imwe omukesa akakwa imwemwe babuteeka obubisana ero kibwe kintu bamundubire kyo mukatale Facebook ekatako nisaibalo first mukayibwa mfyako mukakontroleko emisango shimo mukayibwa mfyako ngababika abantu bamo mu nakane munshira ero mukesa ekifumyako ekirifundeje otherwise abantu tebaweme mutungulushi bwabo. Natasha.
Thank you very much, Mwantu Akwalesa. Thank you very much for your cause. and you are still calling, we'll call it a day. This is Friday, and we're discussing various issues. We're giving you an update on the electoral process. We're giving you an update on the remarks by the president in Mazabuka. We thought that were very unfortunate. We discussed the irresponsible remarks by Greyford Monde in Iteji today, and we gave you an update on ZNS and FRAM, and we condemned the violence that has risen in the politics. And 20 days away from elections, we'll keep on counting down and giving you more updates. God bless you, and shalom, shalom.
Ba Zambia, ba youth, mwema farmers mwalubuka. Tubukishi miaka Lord's heading, iliashili ya buino talifisama, tulefwa intungulushi shamano. Mundo bile na makebi. Kaya kala kwa limisebu ama bridge, ma school na ma hospitals. Abantu bale mfwa bwinu impia shale sangwa mu matown na mu compound nomba shisangwa fye muli bapompwe. Batile bakaleta buyantashi bakawamya inchalo efyo batile nomba abantu bale lila kumitengo shafya kulya imitengo ya fuel. Ifwe tule fire ma solutions te fya kulumbanya fye pa pepa. Mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fire lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikila intungulushi shamano abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tatule fire in fin tule fire ulubuto imundu bile fye na makebi imundu bile fye na makebi. Baletila, rule of law, number bantu baletina nukulanda. Do you have a lawyer? Selective justice, momenso ya bantu ifunde lonse lipwilele abali ya muntu onse. Hapa number amachito kuingila na mashina nomba madata base bafaya chance no butungulushi bwa bwino manifesto yabo nomba yonse ni pia ngama solution malaide ya likwi kanchi ya maansasi ya likwisa abantu bale faya umutendene nsala ipwe ulubuto intungulushi shamano twikatane nga Zambia mundu bile na makebi mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fire lesa tapela tambika afye na tutambikila intungulushi shamano abakwete vision ya chalo baba kalubula bachelo tatule fire in fin tule fire ulubuto Zambia yakwe twikatane mundu bile fye na makebi. Hai by you mule fire nani ba taxi driver mwema farmers bashimaini kuko pala uko mule fire banana baka sukulu mwema zebige mule fire banani ulubuto intungulushi shamano twikatane nga Zambia mundu bile na makebi mundu bile na makebi ebo tule fire lesa tapela tambika fye na tutambikile intungulushi shamano abakwete vision ya chalo bakalubula bachelo tule fire in fin tule fire ulubuto Zambia yakwe twikatane mundu bile fye na makebi. Mundu bile na makebi